the tape, let's grind. Shut up. The tape, the tape. Let's grind. The tape. We do a little bit different around here.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
The tape. Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape. The tape. Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape. The tape.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
The tape.
UGA game day, boy, we ball out. Pull up, put the whole conference in the doghouse. Leave them 6 feet, see me on the win streak. All-star status, go coach, and the bench deep. Right. Offense on 10, how we run it? Your best ain't nothing, we gon' send them boys punting. Yep. Black and red, got them dead on arrival. Defense hunkered down for the tie. Hey, hey, you don't want it with the dogs. Film guy on it, you don't want it with my dog. Break it down, play by play, that's the day-to-day. They know we ain't come to play, boy, it's UGA. Kirby Smart, I cannot play the fool. Back to back, we did not come to lose. Back to back, like we got something to prove. Pay your dues, dog nation on the move. What's up?
We do a little bit different around here.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
The tape, the tape.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Shut up. Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape, the
Shut
tape.
up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape.
Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
Shut up. The tape.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in to the Film Guy Network on a two-loaded Tuesday. Brought to you by our friends over at BetUS. We got a loaded one for you as always. We got Week 9 preview and predictions, as you can see by the title in today's video. We're going to go a deep dive into every single one of those football games that are pertinent this weekend. A sneaky good college football weekend. One of those weekends that I think going into the season, nobody predicted would be this important, but it is a mega important weekend of college football. We have Heisman updates for you as well. We're going to take a look at the top 25 from the preseason and just get a good chuckle. Just get a good chuckle out of it because there is some good gold in there. We got best bets from the man Kirby tonight as well. It's a tremendously loaded show and a tremendous time to be on this network. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button, like, subscribing, and rating and reviewing. But I want to open with this, guys. A question, just a general question. I think I know the answer. Are you allowed to have growing pains nowadays, right? Are you allowed to have growing pains in the world of college football? Because I feel as sometimes, you know, the whole give it time approach, I don't feel that's necessarily pertinent or available nowadays in college football. I feel like everyone wants immediate results and wants it now, especially if you're handed a really good situation or if you walk into a really good situation as a football coach. Most people expect you to have immediate results. There is no give it time or let's just walk through the growing pains with a smile on our face. Most of the time when you go through these growing pains, people are going to be a little bit upset, especially if you took over a really good situation. And I got to be honest, when I look at Alabama, right? When I look at Alabama, I see a football program right now that's going through a lot of growing pains and going through a tremendous amount of change, all right, between head coaches, obviously, right? And they couldn't be any more different. And I think that's a good thing, and it'll eventually be a good thing. But right now, you're seeing on display every single Saturday a lot of these growing pains, man. One of these football coaches was a historic disciplinarian, right? Ran his football program almost like a dictatorship, was Nick Saban. One football coach is very much so a player's coach. One football coach is very much so defensive-minded and a CEO of sorts. One football coach is an offensive-minded manager of sorts, a people manager of sorts, it seems, right? One guy's a hard-nosed football coach, approaches it like that. One guy's laid back, wears sweatshirts on the sideline. I don't care about that, but nonetheless, even one guy to the down to the bone of one guy wears a collar shirt, one guy wears a hoodie, and it just two totally diametric or totally separate football coaches. And I don't think it's all for the worst, right? And some of these things look like they're negatives right now for DeBoer because things aren't going so great. But last year when Washington was 126th in the country in penalties, nobody was talking about Washington lacking discipline because they were winning football games. Right, when he's beating teams that seem like they have more talent than him, and he seems like he's out coaching guys, not a lot of questions about discipline, not a lot of questions about the laid-back approach, but because it's struggling right now, because there are growing pains, there's some questions about maybe the process or maybe the type of football coach that this guy may be. And there's a lot of new here. There's a lot of new here for this football program. There's a lot of new, especially for this football coach, right? He's calling a brand of offense, guys, that he's never really called. He's never had to install a quarterback run game. We've talked about that ad nauseum on this network. We kind of pointed to it going into the season that this was kind of a quarterback in Jalen Milroe, though immensely talented and immensely gifted, right? Not necessarily his style of guy. So there's some growing pains with even the style of offense that this offensive guru was brought in to kind of do, right? He's having to play a quality of football that is very, very new to this football coach as well. He's also under a lot of scrutiny for the first time in a long time as a football coach. So you should expect growing pains. And my question to you guys and to the chat and to Alabama fans that are listening to this today is that, man, like if these two losses just happen in a vacuum, and I know Vandy's not a good one, but if these two losses that are on your schedule right now at Vandy and at Tennessee, if they just happened in a vacuum and you're a two-loss team still on the precipice of a college football playoff potential run if you went out and handle your business, if they just happen in a vacuum, would you feel as bad in year one in these growing pains as you currently do? Because the two losses, Vandy, and the way that it happened, right, not being able to get off the field on third downs, and then the Tennessee game in the quarterback's lack of progression as a player and maybe some penalties that weren't necessarily great. They don't look great. They're even more embarrassing than just the L in the loss column. So I think, guys, I don't know what my question is other than, is this as bad as it seems right now for Alabama, or are these growing pains that you expect him to kind of grow out of, pun intended? Welcome in, by the way.
Well, I think that, like, going back to Washington being ranked 126 in the nation for penalties, I think that, one, you mentioned it, he was winning football games, and especially at a place like Washington, if you're winning football games, they're not going to care how it looks. They're not going to care where you rank when it comes to penalties or whatnot. They're just happy that you're winning out. You have an undefeated season. You're in the college football playoff now, and you have a chance to win a national title, something that was never mentioned in the realm of college football for those fans in quite some time since Jake Browning was quarterback for them. And you saw how that went last time.
That's a deep pull right there for you.
Ball knower.
Yeah.
Anyways, but then you come to a place like Alabama where, yeah, there was discipline. It was Nick Saban. This was a tight-ran program where you did everything right. You did the small things right. You did the big things right because you had to earn playing time on the football field. But when you have some moving parts, when the transfer portal is about and you're having to lose players off your roster, get more players on your roster, figure out how you're going to get everything flowing like it should be in your program in 1 year while also trying to compete for a national title, while also adjusting to new SEC rules and playing against really good teams where the SEC is perhaps the best it's ever been, there's going to be growing pains, and that should be expected for any first-year guy.
Now, Kirby, you've been firmly on the side of this guy is overwhelmed in this conference. Where do you stand on whether or not he's going to right this ship quickly?
I mean, I stand where I feel like I was standing at the start of the season of, yes, there are going to be growing pains. It's year one of the coach. It's his first year in the SEC. let's kind of taper expectations. I think what the problem is you had the media build this team up so much. They came out and looked unstoppable in the first half against Georgia. Everyone said this offense is one of the best in the country. I don't see how anyone can stop it. They were ranked number 1 going into the Vanderbilt game. All of those things. You built up this Alabama team so much. Oh, they're not missing a step with Kalen DeBoer. Maybe Nick Saban was a problem. Maybe Nick Saban was holding them back. So for all that to come crashing down the last 3 weeks, yeah, you've had a couple of really bad performances that can be attributed to growing pains. So the fact that they were built up so high made this fall a little worse. I think if you come into the season and the Georgia game's a close fight and Georgia wins, or Georgia just handles them and takes care of their business like we think they would, should you have a rematch, I think this is a completely different discussion. I think it's unfair to say that things are going terribly right now for Alabama because it's year 1 of a coach in a system that he's installing with a quarterback that he probably has unfamiliar characteristics with as far as talent goes. So I don't think it's fair to say that, things are really bad right now. Things don't look great, but they don't look great because we spent the first quarter of the season talking about how great this offense was and how everything's so great right now.
All right, so let me paint a picture for you. Mama DeBoer, she been watching the interwebs, and she been seeing everybody crap on her boy. And she been saying, like, man, nobody's sticking up for my son. Coach, my son, Coach DeBoer, he's just getting all this heat. When in reality, I mean, the roster was deteriorating anyways. That's why the greatest coach of all time had to leave. And most people would say it was the best coaching job he did all year or in the last 15 years. This last year when he got them to a Final Four. This roster was a shell of the Alabama of old, the Alabama that you remember. That's why the greatest of all time walked away. What would you say to Mama DeBoer if she was out here standing for her son like that? Because there are some takes on the internet like this where it's like, bro, the Alabama roster and the Alabama program as a whole was already on the decline. That's why Saban left. So you're seeing the remnants of an already declining roster.
I mean, we've seen this collectively as a whole throughout college football for the last 3 seasons. We've talked about how the transfer portal and NIL is kind of even the playing field. Georgia's roster, I don't think, is where it was in 2021 when they won a natty. I don't think Bama's roster is where it was in 2020 when they won a natty. I mean, you could go down the list and talk about how every roster has kind of progressively gotten worse. That's not really an excuse, I don't think, to say. And here's the thing. You as a coach in college football, you know for a fact you're going to come into a situation where when you're hired, a lot of players leave the program. That's what the transfer portal era is. Like, you have to expect that. So to say that Kalen DeBoer's situation, he came into a rough situation, well, you've still got a bunch of blue chip players on your roster. You've still got more talent. You've still got more talent than 90% of college football.
Damn sure more than you left.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's sure, he had to go in and rebuild, and I don't know why anyone really expected them to be a national title contending team in year 1. We all said, hey, let them have growing pains. But
I just got off the phone with Mama DeBoer. She said not only was it a loss and the roster was deteriorating, but he had to replace 15 starters as well.
And that's true. And, people did this to Kirby Smart, too, he adopted a top 10, top 15 roster, and this man has the audacity to lose to Vanderbilt in the first year, have a close call with Nicholls State, go 6-6. Like, really? Like, we're acting like this man was given 7-5. Okay. Anyways, I digress. But I'm not saying that 2016 Georgia team is on the same level as this Alabama team, because there are a lot of good football players still on this roster, but it just kind of goes to show. I mean, and Kirby was a first-year guy, but you go to a new program and new expectations, and it's hard. I mean, it is hard, and I don't want to excuse anything that's happening of maybe a lack of execution on the football field or anything like that, but I do think you always have to give people time, no matter if they've been in college football for 20 years, 10 years, or whatever. You got to give them time.
I think if you wipe the Georgia-Alabama game from existence and there isn't that explosive first half and Jalen Milroe and Ryan Williams don't have that incredible game, I don't think people ever get this high on Alabama. And I don't think that's what makes everyone start freaking out when you have this comeback to earth moment where, wait, maybe Alabama isn't the best team in the country. They're still a solid football team. They're still a team that I wouldn't want to play them if I was a normal college. I wouldn't want to play them if I was anyone just because they're that talented. But I think we jumped the gun as a media group collectively and kind of treating them like this offense was incapable of being stopped and Alabama was a wrecking ball of chainsaws.
There's some rumblings in this fan base, boys.
What's that?
Some rumblings in the Alabama fan base that it might be time for a quarterback change. What say you on this blasphemy?
Stop. Stop it right now. Stop.
What is that going to do?
I mean, Ty Simpson at least can hit open guys, I think is what they're thinking.
Oh, yeah. And again, that's an assumption because what have you seen from Ty Simpson or any backup quarterback on that roster that makes you think, oh, he'll do a better job than Jalen Milroe? And I think you can say that, I mean, this happens everywhere. It happens with any fan base of any point in time where there's an extended period or portion of the season where the quarterback is struggling, making some errant throws, not getting the job done of, oh, just put the backup in. They'll do a better job.
He's got to be better than this.
He's got to be better than this.
He had 5 stars.
Ty Simpson was not a 5-star. Well, actually, he might have been. He is the highest-ranked quarterback out of Tennessee in a long time, since Jared Curtis, or before him was Jared before Jared Curtis was him. But no, I think the idea is that they see a bunch of yardage left on tape, and they're looking at it like, this is enough. We've seen enough. Let's see if somebody else can hit these open guys. I don't necessarily agree, obviously.
No.
Also, by the way, if you're an Alabama fan thinking this, like, you're going to have to redesign your entire run game the moment that happens.
Yeah, I mean.
Like, most of your run game's designed on the fact that number 4 is great with his legs.
It's the classic case of a college football fan.
Grass greener.
Yeah, grass is always greener. They also have really no control over the program, but they're yet very emotionally attached. So I get it. I get wanting to say, all right, we need to make a change. Something has to happen here because what's working isn't working. What's going on isn't working right now, but it's illogical. It doesn't make sense, and it's.
Isn't it also fair to say, like, I mean, guys, he just got done playing 2 of the better defenses in this conference.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
and I would also say
South
that
Carolina and Tennessee.
No matter where
And here comes Missouri. My bad.
No, you're fine. No matter where Kalen DeBoer has been, he's found quarterback talent, or he's gotten good production out of his quarterback. He had Jake Haener at Fresno State. People know who Jake Haener is. He's a
number
name
9, right?
He's a name in the NFL that people are like, oh, Jake Haener, that's an underrated quarterback right there. I like Jake Haener. He'd be my sleeper pick in the draft this year. Then you go and have Michael Penix at Washington. Now you're at Alabama with Milroe. So this guy knows what good quarterbacks look like. He knows how to get the most out of his quarterbacks. But, I mean, he's done some of that this year with Milroe. He's added into the run game. He's found ways to make him more weaponized with his legs. But I mean, still, like it's gonna, like, you're gonna have some up and downs in the first year. That's just gonna be expected.
I think Alabama fans need to just accept the fact that this is year 1 of Kalen DeBoer. I don't think competing for a national title was ever really the expectation, what it should have been. I think the Georgia game did you a major disservice in that, and that the media kind of all pumped smoke up your ass saying that this is an incredible offense and that Alabama looks no less dangerous than they did under Saban. And I think that realizing that you might be a 9-3 team this year, you might be a 10-2 team this year, you might not make the playoffs, but I don't think that they're one of the top teams in college football this season. 2025, they very well could be. But expecting national titles out of a year 1 guy is just too much to ask for.
All right, let's move on. Welcome into tonight's show. It is going to be a great one. We have Week 9 previews and picks, best bets, Heisman updates. We're looking back at the preseason top 25 as well. First and foremost, I want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at BetUS. If you're looking for a new book this season, BetUS is indeed the answer. Click the link in the description of this bio. Head over there, or of this video. Head over there today and get some plays in. We're going to hammer some best bets today. Kirby 16-6 on the year. Your boys 16-16. My bad. Your boy, which is just lukewarm as can be. Your boy's 10-5. So just hang on for the Friday and Saturday plays, and maybe let's start fading Kirby this week. But nonetheless, BetUS today, promo code YouTube150. You'll get 150% deposit match on your first deposit up to $2,000 and 125% on your next 2 deposits. Again, up to $2,000 with promo code YouTube150. Shout out to those guys. Shout out to you guys for being here tonight. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button on the video. Let's get after it right now. Let's head on into our Week 9 predictions, boys. I'm going to call this one the, quote, weekend of college football you didn't think would matter, but it does.
I like it.
It 100% does. This is a big weekend of college football. Some games that will ultimately shake out some conference championship alignments potentially. I do want to hit on some quick super chats right quick. Swarit says, Texas fan here, I noticed there was a decent amount of times where Quinn passed up open receivers. How much of that is lack of execution versus Georgia's defense getting in his head and confusing him? A little bit of both, okay? A little bit of both. One thing you'll learn about quarterbacks is the moment they start getting sped up is the moment they start missing reads, okay? But it's also Quinn. We showed that Oklahoma tape. You guys watched it with us. There was a lot of yardage left on that tape against Oklahoma. It's part of the reason why I felt confident remaining in my schemes don't be Georgia special players do. Going into that matchup against Oklahoma, Quinn wasn't even close to special, and there wasn't a moment in that game where he showed that he was special. So I would say a little bit of both.
I mean, I saw a stat today where in 2022 he averaged 10.8 yards per throw. The next season he averaged 8.4. This season he's averaging 6.6.
That is what we call steady decline. Is what we call steady decline. I also want to take a quick shot. I want to take a quick shot on somebody right quick. It's a damn shame this guy's falling off a cliff because I used to watch him a lot as someone who grew up soloing in this industry. Colin Cowherd had one of the worst takes I've ever seen coming out of that game. How you watch Georgia versus Texas and then go to the microphone and say that Carson Beck and have one of these guys ain't a first round pick conversation, and you have that about Carson as opposed to having that about Quinn. Crazy work from him. But you read some box scores, and you're gonna hammer some stuff, some takes like that.
Well, not only that, he's been on the Carson Beck isn't a first rounder train.
He's been fading
for
out
the entire season. And if you saw the take he had coming into the game, he kind of grasping at straws. It seemed like he's right there. I mean, he basically said that because Texas pushed around Alabama last year, they're going to do that to Georgia this year, and they're the new sheriff in the SEC, which is just peak analyst right there.
Love that.
Base
right
a
there.
game off what a team did to a different team last year for your prediction of this season.
Another super chat from Kowalski says, "Hey Brooks, love the channel and videos. Any thoughts on recording / uploading / streaming your content in HD, 1080p, 1440? We try. I think there's a setting we're missing or something. So we spent like a year dialing in Streamlabs OBS and got that right. And then Streamlabs OBS started bugging on us.
Yeah.
And so we went to OBS Studio, and then we had audio problems.
Yeah.
So we brought in an audio technician that was a friend of the show that listens to the show. Appreciate him. And he fixed all of our audio. That's why we sound clean as a whistle. And now, as of late, that's probably the most common suggestion right there. Also, I think there's an anti-film guy YouTube deep state going on right now because I've seen some people say they're not getting notifications on the channel either. We got ops. The ops are working, and I hope this is the last one. All right, Brooks, as of right now, we'll hold that one for the local hour. All right, sorry. We got to get on to these predictions, guys. I love the super chats. We're going to get to all of them tonight. I promise you by the end of the show, okay? Let's start with our predictions, boys. Syracuse at Pitt. Thursday night smackdown. You catch Syracuse any day but a Saturday, it's a bad day for you, brother. I'll tell you that right now.
Man.
By the way, I've been talking about Iowa State something crazy. Been out here saying, hey, Iowa State, don't think I don't see you midding your way through the Big 12. I see you. I see you playing all that slop in the Big 12, slapping your way, needing a come-from-behind win against UCF, 2-minute drill against a then 3-3 team. Just watching you mid your way. And I'm out here giving Iowa State crap. But Pitt, I got some shit for you. Pitt, 1-point win over Cincy this year. Pitt, 4-point win over West Virginia this year. Pitt, 10-point win over UNC this year. Pitt, 2-point win over Cal this year. Pitt, taking a loss to Syracuse this week. Give me the Cuse, 31-28.
Are we all going to do this?
We're all doing this. We're all riding that Fran Brown wagon, baby. Let's go. And if you haven't noticed, the energy's coming up. The energy's picking up. Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Dude, I really want Syracuse to win this game. I really think this could be a Fran
Don't
Brown
Kirk
legacy
Curve
game.
Street me right now. Don't be afraid of a panel going one way. Hammer the pick.
I'm very afraid of that. I'm saying I still think Syracuse wins this game. I have it like 35-30. I think it's one of those classic shootouts on a weeknight game that you go, man, this is why college football is so great. But if we're all going to do it, I don't feel as good about that pick anymore.
Frauds. All of you. Talking about you, Pitt, not Syracuse.
Oh, shit, dude.
Dude,
Flash any day but Saturday.
it's the most electric version of college football you'll ever watch in your life.
Fact.
It is. I love it so much. So give me the Cuse, 33-28.
Man.
Boy, Narduzzi was out here selling the McCord stock. Did you hear this today? Narduzzi got up in front of that microphone and was like, hey, if you're a fan of football, you don't even got to be a fan of Pittsburgh. You don't even got to be a fan of Syracuse. If you're a fan of good quarterback play, you need to come out this weekend and watch Kyle McCord dot our asses up. He said Kyle McCord going to be playing on Sundays for a very long time.
Oh.
He said he watched the third down cut-ups. This how I know. This how I know he was on that McCord high, bro. He was on that McCord high. He took that Accord for a little test drive. He's like, you know what? How did they step their shit up? He was watching that third down cut up, and McCord's out here dotting that ACC comp up. just throwing lasers after lasers. And Narduzzi was like, hey, this is the best quarterback come into here in a fat minute. Narduzzi selling McCord stock. He better be, because McCord coming in hanging 30 on that head top this weekend.
Man, they better be glad this one ain't in the dome. If it was in the dome, they'd be up by 50.
Fact.
Pitt's going to win this game now. That sucks.
That's
I'm very
unfortunate
disappointed that you just want to twist your prediction.
You're
because
cowardice.
I
Mel's
want-
in this studio
I
right
want
now.
Syracuse to win this. Okay, hang on.
What?
Hold on.
I mean,
This is coming from the guy that last week was like, I don't feel good about this Texas prediction.
I didn't. They were the number one team in the country. They've been playing the best and cleanest football, but I stood 10 toes down.
Did you God, I don't want to sidetrack too much. Go on with what you were saying.
No, I was just saying, I want Syracuse to win. I think they could, but I
might go back to it.
feel a little curse coming now. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. See, this is what this is. He sat there and watched College Game Day from behind the scenes, and he watched how Kirk's working. And Kirk does this to avoid any type of. Yeah. I see you. Learning from the GOATs.
We weren't there when they. Oh, true. He is. That's fair. What were you saying?
Marty Smith texted Kirby after the game, and I guess he picked Georgia because he said, not everybody doubted you guys. All right. And Kirby texted him back and said, bro, we were going up against the number one team on the road in the Southeastern Conference in primetime. Everybody's supposed to doubt us.
Oh.
Interesting.
Bro. A bro?
He said bro. That's what Marty said.
Bro, comma?
Yeah.
Kirby, an advanced texter. That's a 32-year-old text message. Not a almost. Is he in his 50s? Not a 50-year-old.
No,
text
he's
message.
probably
49?
49.
I think he's 49.
Yeah, that's not an upward 40s text message. Bro, comma.
That is a.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that is a text message that reads like a guy who
That be Cruton.
who has consistently been. That sounds weird to say, but consistently been in the loop talking with young adults for the majority of his career. So
Sounds like a 49-year-old man that be texting 17-year-olds. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, that's gonna get clipped.
Oh, he's 47.
47.
We overshot him.
Overshot him
My
just a
bad,
little bit.
Kirk.
That's on us. 31-28 Cuse.
33-28 Q's.
35-30.
All right. You went non-Cuse, though.
No, I have Syracuse
You went
winning.
non-Cuse.
Thank you.
I
Thank
went
you.
Syracuse.
Thank you. I can go to bed happy
I've said Syracuse the whole time. I'm worried that Pitt's gonna win the game now. That's all.
Worried.
All right, Notre Dame at Navy. Who would have thunk this was going to be a top 25 matchup?
Crazy.
Yeah.
No, who would have thunk that after Notre Dame loses to Northern Illinois earlier in the season, and we think, all right, well, they're dead. No one ever really gives Navy a chance ever. So the fact that these are both 25 teams, and by the way, this could have playoff implications. This isn't just a top 25 matchup like, oh, this will be fun. This is a serious game.
All right, this is also the serious game for the option. It's a serious game for the option because I think the primary recipe for beating an option team, you got to first and foremost have team speed. Also got to have really big, long ends that can make reads really, really difficult. And you got to have corners that you can leave on an island. You can just say, hey, cover that guy. We're going to dedicate the rest of the bodies to the box. Okay, so I think Notre Dame has all of those requirements. All of them. So if Navy can get out here and get loose in this football game, they can probably do it against virtually anybody not named an elite team speed, like any SEC top 5 defense. Like I think you have a hard time running the option against anybody down here that runs like these defenses do. So that being said, Navy has not been in a one-score fourth quarter game yet. Like not a single one. And here's what I'm telling you about option teams that have been dominant like this to this point in the season. They got a ton of tricks up their sleeve. Tons of tricks up their sleeve. I think Notre Dame wins it, but it's going to be closer than the experts think. Give me Notre Dame 27-17.
That's a good one.
Didn't they play last year?
They did, and that was also, or at least maybe maybe not Navy, but Notre Dame more than any other Power 4 team has a consistent background against playing these option teams. Mm-hmm. They're far more comfortable getting a non-Power 4 conference schedule against one of these teams because they see them quite often. They have to. They're the only teams that consistently want to schedule them in non-conference.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when you have an option team like this, one, we all know how much of a pain in the ass the option is to prepare for and to cover and to kind of get ready to stop.
Got to practice without a ball.
Yes. And not only that, it can really, really drag on drives. Like you can have 9, 8, play 10 drives that don't even pass the 50, but eat up so much clock, which is why I think this will be a lower scoring game. it's two teams that love running, so it's not really going to be a high-scoring game whatsoever. I'm riding with Navy in this one, though.
Okay.
I think that Navy, honestly, is just going to be a better way of running the football than Notre Dame. I don't think Riley Leonard is an incredible thrower of the football. I've got Navy winning this game 28-24.
Just fade the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I'm not going to fade them this week, though. I think it is going to be close, though. I have it as a one-score football game. I'm predicting Notre Dame to win 28-20. I think it's going to be close, slow scoring, a lot of slow, methodical drives. But I do think that if you had to pick a team to be explosive, Navy has shown the ability to do it. They have shown some propensity to find ways to be explosive outside of just running it. But I also think that Notre Dame is going to be better on both sides of the football. I just have a feeling.
And we are in that circle right now of Notre Dame just quietly wins all of their games and makes it to the playoffs. So this very well could be a game that Notre Dame just kind of leans on and wins.
It's a quintessential Notre Dame's going to play a ranked team. If they win, nobody cares.
Just put quotes around that.
Well, yeah, I kind of did.
But
what I'm saying is, what I mean by that is, if Notre Dame wins this game, nobody's gonna be like, Notre Dame beat a ranked team. Good job.
It's
Like,
just,
backtracking
might be back.
It's
And
just
then-
it's another Notre Dame season where they had that loss early and everyone goes, look at the rest of their schedule. There's nothing on there that's credible. Then somewhere a ranked team pops up, they beat that team, and then everyone says, oh, there's their good win.
Yeah, who would have thunk it? The ranked win on Notre Dame's schedule is Navy, not Florida State.
Well, they also beat A&M too.
Correct.
They did beat it.
They did beat A&M early to start the season. In between these predictions on these next games, let's hit a super chat. This one comes from Draven. Brooks, as of right now, who do you think is going to start next year for Georgia, and how do you think the offense will change? All right, so you handed me $10 here to answer this question. It's way too early to answer this question, though. Way too early. With Rashada, the offense wouldn't change very much. With Stockton, the offense would change tremendously. With Puglisi, it would look like a merger of the two. All right, so that's a quick way to answer that. Right now, it's Stockton and then the other two guys, it seems, as of right now. So I don't know what that looks like. We'll have to find out come the spring, and even in the spring, I don't think we'll get too many answers. All right, let's go on to our next prediction, which is Illinois at Oregon. Boys, 21.5, way too many points.
Way too many.
It stunk. It stunk to me when I first looked at it.
I think there's a lot of outrageous lines this weekend, to be honest. I think there's way too many points being floated out right now. This being one of them.
This is a very interesting game because Oregon is one of those teams right now that I think that we can all agree that has looked the most solid. They had a couple of trips early in the season. Turns out Boise State isn't as bad of a win as we thought it was. That's a really good football team that runs the ball really well. So that's kind of a 3-point win that you've kind of excused. But so other than that, Oregon's looked like one of the more complete football teams this season, and they're ranked number 1 right now. And that could be a curse because the number 1 team has not fared well this season. We've talked about that.
So I got a new category of selections on these picks, and I think I'm going to track them, called the explosive pick. Basically, if I think there is a very, very distinct advantage on one side of this game in the explosives category, I'm just going to pick that team by a large margin, and we're just going to go with that. Oregon, top 15 in every explosive category offensively. Illinois, dead middle of the pack, right in the 50s, offensively and defensively. They allow them at a relatively high rate. They don't get a relatively high rate of their own offensively. So for that reason, give me Oregon 38-20. Explosive pick, new category.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same track as you. I don't think there's going to be that many points scored because I do think that Illinois has a pretty solid defense.
Yeah, you're right. Let's back that down 28-10.
Huh.
Let's minus 20 total points in that football game.
All right. I'm with you on that. I think that both teams have a good defense. I certainly think that Oregon has the more talented defense, and Illinois doesn't have one of these electric offenses that are just going to obliterate you time and time again. So I think that a Dan Lanning-led defense is going to be able to match up really well against this Illinois offense. But I do see that Illinois' defense kind of maybe keeping it a little close. I've got Oregon, though, winning this one 31-17.
I really don't want to give a prediction on this game right now because I'm just
What are you going to
You're really
grind the
conflicted
tape?
right here.
You going to go grind the tape?
no, I'm just conflicted on it. I think Oregon wins. I'll go Oregon in a kind of semi.
Why are you so conflicted? It's a 21.5 point spread. Why do you think it's going to be so close?
I just have that feeling, man.
It's a sneaky Saturday for Oregon.
Could be.
I think they had that last week when the Ducks' head got knocked off and they, only beat Purdue by
that's
28
crazy.
or something
Only
like that.
28.
Like 40. Yeah, they beat the shit out of them.
They're late, but it was kind of sneaky close for 2 quarters. Did you see the Duck get his head knocked
Yeah,
off?
I
Yeah, that
did.
was funny.
By his own player.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
That's a who's that a bigger mistake on? The Duck?
Yeah, peripherals,
Not having-
man.
Peripherals.
He
Was
ain't
the
got
Duck head
none.
on?
You ain't got no
yeah, that's on the
peripherals.
player, man. You got to know where the Duck is at all times.
I think so too.
I'll go Oregon 35-21.
Okay. Let's hit a super chat right quick. Hunter Ragland says, actually, let's go to Sammy. Sammy's first. Who is Beck's pro comp? Huge fan. The floor is, man, this is, no, you know what? You might like this. I think the floor is like Kirk Cousins.
The floor?
Like if you draft him and you feel safe about it, he's Kirk Cousins.
That's the floor.
I mean, Kirk Cousins is like average
Tread
the top
lightly.
12. You're telling me Kirk Cousins is like really, really good. I don't think Kirk Cousins is
I don't think Kirk
great.
Cousins is really, really good. I think Kirk Cousins is a very, very solid NFL
Yeah.
quarterback.
All right, so let's just say it.
Calling
That's
that-
the comp.
calling that
Let's
the
just do the
floor?
comp. That's the comp. Kirk Cousins then.
It's a great
I don't know
pick.
what the ceiling would be.
Matt Ryan.
Great.
Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan.
Very
That's
similar
what I've
football
always
player.
said.
But he's so much more rotational than both of those guys.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
he's a better athlete than both those guys.
Oh, absolutely. But I've always said Matt Ryan.
Matt
not a
Ryan's a
bad
good
comp.
one, honestly.
Okay.
Having Kirk Cousins as the floor, I mean, make that guy the number 1 pick right now. If at the absolute worst, he's going to be a guy that can throw for 500 yards on a random Thursday night game, yeah, give me Kirk Cousins, please.
And he dripped out.
It's a bad time to be fading the Kirk Cousins stock, but I'm going to tell you right now, I ain't never bought it. Never once have I been purchasing Kirk Cousins stock.
All right.
So that's why I did the floor thing, because I personally felt like I was kind of slighting him just now on that player comp, because I'm not like the biggest Kirk lover.
I'm not either.
That's there.
But to say he's not a top 15
Listen to
quarterback
these
in the league
guys.
right now?
Matt Ryan's a little bit better. I like that. He at least won an MVP.
Ceiling wise, yeah.
Yeah. At least won an MVP. Hall of Famer?
Yes. Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started.
Sidetrack
That was-
all night.
Don't even
tonight.
get me started.
Sorry.
Love a good drawn out. So,
let
dead
me check
silence.
my phone here.
I'll read
hold
it
on,
later.
hold on.
What?
No.
Oh, you making fun of me? Missouri at Alabama. Who wants to start?
It's 2 teams that really are kind of on a you need to have a get right game. Missouri looked kind of trash against an Auburn team that we've now anointed as is not very good. We said they might have potential at the start of the season. It might just mean figure things out on offense. No, they're not a very good team. Alabama obviously had that game last week where their offense couldn't really do anything. Scored 17 points against Tennessee. Now, granted, it was on the road against a defense that's very good. Who's going to have the get right game is the one here, and that'll be who wins this game.
Another explosives kind of pick here, because both of these teams have struggled with it. Alabama struggled to has consistently allowed them on the defensive side of the football and has been inconsistent in being able to hit theirs on the offensive side of the football. They've sputtered the last, I'd say, 10 quarters on the offensive side of the football, maybe even a little bit longer than that if you really dive into it. Here's the weird thing about Missouri. They have a real hard time getting chunk plays offensively. It's what they were kind of really good at last year. This year, bad in the run game with explosives, bad in the pass game, getting Luther Burden and Theo Weiss and all those guys loose. They can't hit deep shots consistently. They're not even getting loose in the back end. So it's very, very questionable as regards to whether or not they're going to be able to explosively move it against Alabama, even against Alabama. But here's the tough thing for Alabama going to this football game. Missouri, a sneaky good defense right now. A sneaky good defense, especially at making you crawl the ball. They're in the top 10 right now in explosives allowed on the defensive side of the football. They make you walk it down the field, and that's something that Alabama, even dating back to the Tommy Rees days with Jalen Milroe at the quarterback, making that team crawl the ball down the field is their biggest weakness. They don't want to do that. They want to score quickly, and this Missouri team doesn't allow that.
I'm going to pick against Missouri in this because Missouri does not win these football games. Eli Drinkowitz does not win these football games. Missouri wins the games they're supposed to. They beat Auburn. They do those things. Missouri wins those football games. One's like, yeah, Missouri keeps winning. They win those games. and then you go play a Georgia or you go play an Alabama, and even though that they are struggling, it still is Alabama. You still got to go to Bryant-Denny Stadium. You got to play on the road, and you got to play in a game that to them is one of the only meaningful games on the slate for them this year. And we saw what happened last time for them. They got absolutely blown out. Now, I think that Texas A&M's defense is better than Alabama's, and I think that you'd have a hard time having a better day than what Texas A&M did against Missouri. But one of these games, Missouri doesn't win these. Alabama, though, I'll take them at home. I'm going to say that they win 34-27.
There's a reason why the line was so big at this game. And whether you think it's inflated or not, the public looking at that and seeing what Bama has put on the field the last 3 weeks is going, oh, my God, there's no way Alabama wins by this much. I think Vegas probably knows something. This has get-right game for Alabama written all over it. This has Kalen DeBoer realizing, okay, I need to actually really lock in here, create a very good scheme for this team. Let me lock in real quick. So this very much screams Alabama's going to come in and handle a Missouri team that I'm not sure is as good as anyone really thought they were, or as good as we thought they were coming into the season. They've gotten punched in the mouth multiple times. They had to come crawling back against an Auburn team that is just not good. The defense that they've played this year held them to 10 points. It has not been great for Missouri, and I don't think this is the week. People seem to be picking Missouri more as an Alabama thing than, Missouri's a good enough football team to beat Alabama, and I don't ride with that. So I'm going to go Alabama wins this game 41-21.
Y'all have way too many points in this football game, in my opinion. I think it's a rock fight. I got Bama winning 20-17.
It could be like that.
I don't have that much trust in Missouri's defense.
I don't have that much trust in Missouri's defense.
You think it's faux pas numbers?
A little bit.
Okay.
I do think, though, that 13.5 is way too many points.
Yeah.
I think that's way too many.
I don't think Bama's good enough right now to go into any SEC game and just be like, yeah, spot them 2 tugs.
I don't care who you're playing. 13.5 against any conference opponent. In this conference, that's a lot of points.
It's got get-right game written all over it.
It says the man who's 16-16 against the spread this year.
50-50's tough.
That's tough. That's tough.
But I also am the only one who picked Bama to lose last week, and I'm not even going to bring up the Vanderbilt game. So
when you haphazardly said
when
they would keep it within 15
when I said
points,
that they
is that
would,
what you're talking
when
about?
I said that would be a close game, and you refused to let me give that take, so I had to back it up. So
No. I made you give the take of they would win, and you refused to do that.
You refused to let me give the take?
Pull the clips, no context. Pull them. Pull the clips. Texas and Vandy. A shocker of a top 25 football game?
Yeah, an absolute shocker.
An absolute shocker. Not for Texas.
We're talking about week 9.
Vanderbilt's
Week 9 Vandy, right?
Vanderbilt's undefeated at home.
Yeah.
Going into week 9.
Dude, they got a steal of a home slate this year. Next year, I'm praying for you, Vandy. Good on you for making this
Clark
one
Lee,
count.
get your extension now.
Yeah, you better do it now because you got to go to Austin next year. You got to go to Bryant-Denny, and you got to go to Knoxville next year. Good luck.
That's tough.
All right, who you got in this one?
I love Vanderbilt, everything that they've done this season. They've been probably the most fun story to watch of a team that is legitimately that's a team that can give anyone problems on any Saturday. And we've seen in the history that, you play a tough Georgia team, things don't necessarily go great for you from there on out. Just ask Alabama. But Texas is just too talented for Vanderbilt. And I know that they have a very interesting offense that's hard to stop and that they probably have not dedicated a lot of resources given the fact that they just played Oklahoma and Georgia the 2 weeks prior. But I have Texas winning this game. I can't wrap my head around where Vanderbilt gets another one of these incredible upsets. If they do, though, build Clark Lee a freaking statue at that point. But it's Texas 33-21.
They're going to have to outscore them. I don't think there's another week where Texas, especially not 2 weeks in a row, where Texas's offense looks as anemic as it does, because I don't think this Vandy team can stop the run the way that Georgia did on Saturday night. Vandy right now 74th in the country in yards allowed per attempt, averaging well over 4 yards per attempt from opponents. And they ain't played nobody that typically runs the football as well as Texas has this year. I got Texas winning big 38-10.
Yeah, I think
get right game.
And I think one thing that we did definitely learn about Texas is they have a good defense. I mean, they held Georgia in check despite giving up 30 points.
And being in terrible pitch situations.
Exactly. Given the situations that they got put in, only allowing 30 points to that offense, that's a good job on you. So I felt like that defense kept fighting. They made some big-time plays, and they gave that offense opportunities to get back in this one, and they just never really got enough momentum into their favor. So I think that Texas's defense is going to hold Vandy in check this weekend, and I expect them to have a bit of a bounce-back weekend. I don't think it's going to be an absolute blowout, but I do think that Texas is going to win 30-17.
All right, this super chat is kind of Texas-related. I notice a trend if a QB struggles. This is from Hunter Ragland. If a QB struggles, rumors start that they are hurt. I've heard it with Beck. People saying Quinn is still hurt. Now Bama think Milroe is hurt. Is this an attempt to explain regression? One, I can confirm to you that it was a minor injury, but Carson Beck was dealing with something at some point in this football timeline. I think he's almost 100%, if not 100% now, and he's playing really, really well. I think there's some misconceptions with Carson's performance, and we'll talk about that in the local hour. As far as Quinn goes, I don't know how you watch Quinn against Michigan and watch Quinn now and think that's the same football player.
The only way you explain it is Michigan did not disguise. Everybody else has.
Michigan didn't do anything defensively to make it difficult.
Yeah, like I think that the Quinn, again, this goes back to my talk with Jim. That Quinn Ewers Michigan performance did such a disservice to Quinn Ewers as a whole because you didn't have to play any disguise coverages. You looked up, it was cover 3, you snapped the ball, it was still cover 3. That did a lot for you. Now, the fact that you're probably not 100% healthy as you were that game certainly plays a factor into it, but we anointed him as like a really, really good quarterback coming into it, and then you had to play a defense that disguises coverages really well, can give you a lot of issues, and it did give him a lot of issues, and now it's kind of like, he's not what he was. Like, he might be a lot closer to what he was, it's just he had to play much tougher competition. That Michigan win does not have a lot of shine right now. We talked about that.
Yeah, honestly, against Oklahoma, I at least saw like errant throws that are like, all right, maybe his oblique still is giving him an issue. Against Georgia, it was most of his issues in that football game were denials. Like he's just turning down opportunities that should be thrown.
His deep ball was poor, but
yeah, I mean, awful.
And I think that
but his deep ball's never been great.
No.
And I think that does play a part of you have to credit Georgia for that. Like with a quarterback, especially in the second half, when we were watching it today, when you see a guy not getting to another read or not even looking towards a deep shot, that to me is a quarterback that is feeling as if I have like maybe a second and a half to get this ball off, and if not, I'm taking another sack. So, I mean, this is a guy that took 6 sacks in this football game. One of them was on Arch. So, I mean, it's granted to feel that. I mean, it's warranted to feel that way.
Parking, $20. Food and drinks, $1,000. Sir, you got hammered and full. 2 tickets, $2,800 or $2,864. Giving Texas a giant cup of shut the F up, priceless. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
Don't let Dave Ramsey see that.
But you spent $1,000 on food and drinks?
Hey, that barbecue's expensive.
Yeah, I guess for the whole week out there. We were eating beef jerky from the gas station.
That absolutely checks out. Not even shocked one bit.
Penn State at Wisconsin. Penn State 27-9. Enough analysis on that one.
Penn State 35-14.
I went 33-30.
Real snoozer. Whoa, 33-30. Hold on. What?
Yeah, I caught
What?
on. He did not at first. He's
What?
like, 33-30.
I thought you said 33-3 at first.
Nah, hey,
What?
No, 30.
Explain yourself. Wisconsin getting a 30 burger this weekend.
This is one of those sneaky games again for me where, and I don't think maybe points are not going to be that much. I think the line on this is like 50-something right now, so I might be overshooting it a bit, but there's some point in this season where it just feels like Penn State is going to trip, and you always wonder, is this going to be the game? We thought maybe last week was the game. It wasn't.
Maybe it was Bowling Green in the Pooh Brown uni.
Yeah, disgusting. So, I mean, I'm just kind of I'm going to keep waiting on saying, like, it's going to be close. Penn State might win it. They might not. But 33-30 is my final score.
And I will say this. Drew Aller's already doing it to all of y'all. He is already fooling all of you draft scouts, all of you NFL draft people that are going to be putting up your mock boards, and a couple of you are going to do it and say that he's one of the top prospects in this class, and he's QB1 worthy. He's a sleeper pick. Someone going to get you fired. He going to get you fired. Don't do it. Don't do it. Please, don't do it.
He cares about you, man. Jonathan just cares about your job. He cares about your wife and your kids, man. Drew Aller gonna have you out on the streets. Is
You need
what
to write
he's
a
saying.
song about Drew Aller, man.
I'm seeing him as QB2 right now. Like, guys, there's one game. One game.
Hey, it was one half.
Oh, even better.
USC second half. That's all it was.
Man.
But hey, he big and he's slinging the pill.
Exactly.
You ought to
That's
see
what's
him in
gonna happen.
warm-ups, Jonathan. You ought to see him in warm-ups, Jonathan.
You know what? I heard someone else say this about Anthony Richardson. I wonder how that's going right now.
Hey, if he can stay healthy, he had that one clip
Maybe
where he
he
threw
could-
it through the roof.
If he could stay healthy, maybe he'd throw for 100 yards and not 78.
Ooh, I'm not watching NFL football. He out here pooping it up like that.
He's hurt.
But he's also not playing great.
No,
Maybe,
he's
isn't he?
Shocker.
Biggest game of the weekend?
Oh, without a doubt.
For sure.
I was talking about LSU at A&M.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just making sure we weren't
Oh, I thought you
sarcastically
meant
talking about Penn
Indiana,
State.
Washington.
No. We skipped that one off the Pick'ems list because I think
know, I was like,
Signetti's
hey,
going
we-
to smoke them.
Imagine telling someone at the start of, at week 3, after
Yeah.
Georgia and Alabama played, that hey, LSU A&M in week 9 is going to be for control of the SEC.
Front runners position.
Shocking, but hey, here we are. Biggest
Here
game of the week.
we are. I've been extremely surprised with both of these defenses. Like, I knew coming into the year A&M had dudes, but I didn't know that the corner crew was this good. I didn't know that they were going to be this great against the pass. Probably the SEC's best pass defense right now to this point in the season, and they've got NFL players on the defensive line as well. LSU obviously spent a ton of money to correct their defensive issues from a coaching perspective. Got a couple of additions in the portal. Obviously lost Harold Perkins due to the injury, but Whit Weeks has kind of stepped into that role as well for Blake Baker and this group. Both defenses playing really, really good football right now, but here's what it boiled down to me. A&M's defense is better. A&M's run game is better. Did you know A&M hasn't rushed for fewer than 135 yards in a single game this season? LSU's quarterback is slightly better, probably considerably better, but A&M's at home. Give me A&M in a tight one, 27-24.
I don't like this one for A&M. I don't like it.
I don't like it for either of them.
I like it for
Well,
this.
you know, somebody has to win.
Really?
Yeah, that's
I
how,
didn't
that's
know
how
that.
it
I
works.
like it
That's
for
shocking.
this reason of Mike Elko has not coached in a lot of these football games in his career. He spent some time at Duke. There ain't too many of these games you're playing in at Duke. Whereas Brian Kelly has quite a history of playing in these games, and we've seen that. I know that he had the slip up against USC, but I did it when they played Ole Miss. I'm going to do it again here. I know it's at Texas A&M. They got a great environment over there at Kyle Field, but this is still very new to Mike Elko, and I think that we need to not just brush over that. So I'm going to take the Tigers. I'm going to have them win in 27-24.
Can Brian Kelly keep them up?
That's a personal question. I don't
Can
know.
Mike Elko go through the SEC
Attaboy.
in year one?
He's learning now, dude.
Yeah, he is.
It's tough to play in the
I'm
SEC
learning.
year one.
I was so uneducated that going into this year.
He's
and now
joining my
I'm being
team.
brought
Guy
to
now
the light.
knows ball.
Sorry, dude.
Thank God I
J-Watt-
sit next to Christian Kirby to
J-Watt,
bring
did
me
not
to the
mean to
light.
sound that condescending. I'm very sorry. My apologies. But no, I agree.
None
with
taken.
You. I agree with you. I think that, I mean, you look at Brian Kelly's track record in big SEC games, it's kind of good.
Yeah.
You beat Alabama one year. You had a really good OT thriller a couple weeks ago against Ole Miss. Like, he hasn't done terrible in this situation. It's the week one issues where you really slip up, and then somewhere along the way you have another bad game. But I just don't know how much. I think people are very high on A&M for a good reason. They have a good defense. They showed that against Missouri. The question is, how good does that Missouri win now? That's not beating Georgia. That's not beating an LSU or a Tennessee. These teams that we kind of believe are upper tier. Missouri might be a middle tier team, I think, and that's kind of their best win right now. I also remember what happened towards week one, towards the start of the season when they played Notre Dame. And obviously Connor Weigman didn't have a great game there. The Notre Dame offense kind of stifled them. But I just trust LSU and Brian Kelly in this situation more than I would trust the Mike Elko team that's kind of just caught this fire after a big win over a team that turns out wasn't very good. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a great game. I've got LSU winning 28-27.
So I'm on LSU. Or I'm on A&M. You guys are on LSU.
Yep.
Drop your nuts, baby.
Drop them nuts. Preseason top 25 is interesting to look at in week 9. There's some teams that are down bad. I got a down bad list and an up big list. Which one you want?
Both.
All right, glass half full, glass half empty.
Let's go glass half empty.
All right, glass half empty. Bama down bad. 10 spots down from 5 to 15. Michigan and Florida State.
And Ole Miss.
And Ole Miss down bad. Utah down bad. Oklahoma State down bad.
Oklahoma down bad.
Kansas, down bad.
R.I.P.
NC State, we knew you were going to be down bad. We knew you were going to be down bad. Anti-Grayson McCall deep state. Stand up. Man, I think I'm gonna hold true to it. My meter for ball knowing is going to be the Grayson McCall ball meter from now on. If you are a Grayson McCall believer, you are a non-ball knower from now on. And I'm going to check receipts. So you better go delete them right now. Cole Cumlick. You better go delete them right now.
Ooh.
You better go delete them right now. Danny Cannell. You better go do them all. All you guys that were buying NC State stock, go ahead and delete them messages because you are a non-ball knower, sir.
You could get a Jimmy Buffett concert right now.
I mean,
Yeah? Why? Because of this?
Yeah.
What did Jimmy Buffett do with this?
Oh, you're about to get cooked by the parrot heads.
Because I don't know Jimmy Buffett culture?
Trust me.
Oh,
dude.
shoot me right now.
Dude, do not alienate that fan base.
Whoa.
Trust me, bro.
You know what?
You do not want that battle.
take a second.
Just say you're sorry.
Let me talk for a little bit.
You act like they're the Swifties.
Buddy. I need you to listen to me. Just apologize to the parrot heads.
That might be the top 3 hardest hit buddies on this show.
Ooh, man.
Where were we at?
I was just gonna say that anybody hopping on the NC State hype train at the beginning of the year, they were just doing the classic. I want to pick somebody other than Miami and Clemson right now.
Yeah.
NC State got Grayson McCall. He was pretty good at Coastal Carolina a few years ago. Oh, they got this KJ Concepcion. Oh, that's pretty tasty. Oh, they got some returning starters on defense. You know what? Let me plant my flag on NC State without knowing a daggum thing about them.
Love it.
They're already coming for you, dude.
Yeah, look, here's the deal. I watch way too much football and do way too much content to be any good at musical taste. I think that's my problem. For the last 15 years, I don't think I've listened to music. I think most of the time, I listen to music pre-show, but most of that stuff's like stuff that came out 10, 12 years ago. You guys have heard my music. I don't have new stuff that I listen to.
That's fair.
So, yeah. I mean, I was a Jimmy Buffett guy because my dad was.
Yep.
I know the Buffett classics. And you know I'm a fan of cheeseburgers.
That's
So,
fair.
Enough of the hatred. Who's up big? We talked about the teams in the top 25 preseason that are down bad. Who's up big?
There's a couple of them, honestly. I mean,
Miami's up big?
Penn State's a big riser.
Nah.
I mean, they are. They started outside. Where were they? They started, what, 11?
Iowa State and the BYU up big.
The what?
Can you say that on it?
Hey, he encouraged. See, y'all don't watch Game Day.
No, we do watch him.
He
I saw the
encouraged
sign, I
everyone
know
to say
he's Jewish.
BYU.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little in and out on game day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why? What did it for you?
I love the intro. I love seeing the scenes
That's
and
nostalgia.
everything.
That's nostalgia. You
Yeah.
love nostalgia.
Getting the tunes going, whatever. And then like about an hour in, I'm checking out a little bit. I'm gonna start doing my own thing in the morning. And then about 11, I'm checking back in.
College Game Day down bad, but Indiana up big.
Indiana
up big.
That's
Illinois?
crazy. Cigaretti, man.
If you were Florida right now and I told you could hire Lane Kiffin, Signetti, or Clark Lee, who are you going after?
Probably Signetti.
What if I threw the short king in there?
Signetti.
You're going 63-year-old Signetti over the short king? That's crazy work.
I mean, none of them sound like great candidates, honestly.
Yeah, who's going to be the best available candidate?
That's what I was saying. Of why would you fire a coach right now? We have no idea who that's a dog.
And I mean,
Like,
they're at
that's
least
it.
fighting for him.
Hmm.
The brass might not be behind him, and the recruiting might not look great, but I mean, at least you have a team that is fighting for Billy Napier, and they have progressively gotten better throughout the season. I mean, the Florida that played Miami in week 1 or 2 is not the Florida that just beat the hell out of Kentucky. So
I mean, the two candidates that we were saying it's going to be one or the other of Eli Drinkowitz and Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin crap in the bed this year. Eli Drinkowitz wearing bowl-bound T-shirts to his press conferences of a team that was supposed to go to the playoff or to the press conference.
And did you see he made a Ryan Williams' 17 joke?
He also made a joke
he's
about.
like 2 months.
Did
late.
you also see he made a joke about the Dan Lanning rule?
Yeah.
Where he's like, we're just going to play 12 defenders.
It really hammers home my thought process on you can't have fun and win. There's just no way. You can't have fun and win. Not in football.
Winning is the fun.
Football
Football
is
is fun.
sir. Football is zero fun, sir. Same note. Hey, you know who else is up big? The servicemen.
Hell yeah.
The servicemen
Shout
up
out
America, America up.
Thank you for your service of handing these L's out to UAB.
Serving the L's. Serving the country and
I
serving
think
L's.
UAB gave up 140 points to the servicemen in 2 consecutive weeks. Oh, man.
That's tough, man.
That's tough. That's tough stuff. Heisman updates? Actually, let's skip Heisman updates. Let's get to best bets. No time for all of it. You got to pull that up? Yeah, I got to pull it up. All right. Best bets are brought to you by our friends over at BetUS. If you're looking for a new book this season, BetUS is indeed the answer. All right. Head over there today using the promo code YouTube150. You'll get a 100% deposit match or 150% deposit match on your first deposit up to $2,000 and 125% deposit match on your next 2 deposits. Again, over there on BetUS using promo code YouTube150. I don't know why I said it that way. All right. Are we going to log in today?
Looks like it's not trying to let you.
Yeah, there you go.
We just had to hit a little refresh.
There it is.
Had to hit a little refresh, I think.
All right, I'll go ahead and get this started while you're logging in.
Go ahead, man. Tell the folks.
16 on the year, which is an even 500, which technically means you're losing money right now, which sucks, but it is what it is. House always wins type deal. Try not to. Either way, first game I have of the week is Rutgers going to USC. Rutgers is getting 14 points here. I think that's too little. I'm going Rutgers plus 14. USC has looked bad these last few weeks, and we've kind of learned something about Lincoln Riley teams. Once the wheels fall off, they kind of just always give in. Lincoln Riley teams don't necessarily perform well after, everything's been off the table here for you. They're kind of going to jump ship and all that. So I'm going Rutgers plus 14.5 as my first pick.
Who are they playing?
They play USC.
What happened to Rutgers? We talked about this last night.
I don't know.
They had a really good game
They got
against
their ass
Washington.
beat by Washington. Or they beat Washington, and
They
then the
beat
next 2
Washington.
weeks just laid duds.
Oh, big duds.
Big duds.
Weird. Nobody got hurt, did they?
I don't know. That's what I was going to say to the quarterback that just
Craig
slings 100
Kimbrell?
mile an hour.
Did Craig Kimbrell get hurt? I don't know.
Maybe he had some Tommy. He might have had the Tommy, bro.
He got Tommy John.
Next pick we have is Charlotte at Memphis. I'm going Memphis minus 18.5. That's a statistical money line play for me. There's nothing. I haven't watched much football of either of those teams this year. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I have an analysis on that, but
Buying stocks.
buying stock in that. That's what I'm going with. Next one is Arkansas at Mississippi State. Arkansas had a tough game last week, kind of got handled. Mississippi State kind of had a better showing than people expected against A&M. I'm still riding with Arkansas on the road after this. I'm going to go Arkansas minus 7 in here. I think that it'll be kind of a get-right game for them. Taylor Green's a talented quarterback. They had a couple of turnover issues in that game, which is why the score is so skewed. LSU certainly handled them by all means, but I think that it was necessarily maybe a little closer than it could have been. Turnovers were unfortunate in that one. I'll go Arkansas. Next is Wake Forest at Stanford. 2 powerhouses battling.
Just units of football.
2 powerhouses battling
Doo-doo
here.
football game.
I think Stanford is just not as good of a football team as Wake Forest right now. Sharp money kind of suggests Wake Forest is getting a lot of that action on this, so I'm going to go Wake Forest minus 3. Then my final one is OK State at Baylor. OK State's surprisingly bad team this season. We always thought, hey, it's a Mike Gundy team. They're always usually in the middle of the road of the Big 12. We kind of came in the season thinking Baylor was going to be bad, but I like Baylor minus 7 here. So those are my 5 picks of those.
These are a little scary to me.
There's a lot.
I'm honestly trying to help the audience out right now. I'm probably going to ride Fran Brown to Thursday night.
What are they at?
+6.
Okay.
+6 on the road at Pitt. I'm staying away from Louisville, Boston College, 2 completely unpredictable football teams. Oh, Miami's going to beat the shit out of Florida State this week. 21 points?
No, they're still cursed.
I mean, even Miami's defense is going to look good against Florida State's offense.
I'm still cursing them.
Yeah, Brock.
I definitely like that over. That over sitting at 54.5. Florida State might give up 38.
Mm-hmm.
Just got to manage 2 scores. 38-14 game gets you on the over there.
14 points feels like climbing up a mountain for them, though.
Yeah, you're right. All right. Either way, head over to BetUS right now. Again, use promo code YouTube150 for those deposit matches and to help out those who support us. All right, we good on the national hour, boys?
I believe so.
Let's head over to the local hour. Some say it's our best work.
Welcome Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog?
What's up? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
You know, there was a part of that was just me trying to live on the edge, you know? The idea that nobody knew I was shoeless and sockless. And I was going to go through these transitions of flipping cameras and going to the board. And it made me, you know, a little added nerves. And then I'm out here giving the feet for free.
You could have honestly gotten away with it if you just walked the board like, yeah, I'm barefoot right now. I think the fact was you're like, oh, no. That brought so much attention to it, and now it's...
I learned something about Christian when we were in Austin.
Oh, do tell.
He's just cooler than me. Like, prime example. We walk across the street, and we're semi-jaywalking, but we're not really jaywalking. And I hit a little half jog. And Mans, because the ticker was about to time down, and the light was about to turn green. Mans just continues to walk through the street with his hands in his pocket, and just as soon as he steps onto the curb, light turns green. And I turn around and I shake my head. And he's like, what? I was like, you're just cool, man. You're just cooler than me. So yeah, that right there, the whole idea is I was just going to continue to walk to the monitor and not act like anything happened. You're just cooler than me. And you probably would have had shoes on in the first place.
I don't know, dude. I like going barefoot.
You like going
barefoot on carpet is much better.
It does feel great.
What would have been
thick carpet in here too?
What would have been worse though? Like just being actually barefoot or wearing flops in the studio?
I've definitely worn flops in the studio. I'm not gonna lie.
Slides or flops?
Flops. Toe thong.
Toe thong completely unacceptable unless on a beach. You can't be out here rocking flippy floppies in the state of Georgia. It's a slides only
I
state.
rock them all the time. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you strike me as a guy who would.
Like you like to class?
No, not one of those.
Because those people, I'm like, man.
It's hard to bike and wear flip flops.
I was about to say for you, especially because you bike.
Welcome into our local hour. We got a great one for you guys tonight. We're going to hit you with some film notes and our final thoughts on the Texas-Georgia football game. Kirby Smart had a press conference today. I've got notes on that. Bye-week goals. We're going to hit you with those. Worry-o-meter. We're going to tell you which football programs out in the world of college football could potentially give Georgia a run for their money in a potential matchup. Top 5 wins of the Kirby Smart era. He just hit the 100th win this weekend against Texas. We're going to give you our top 5. I expect those to be relatively similar. Boys, I've got film notes. I've got Kirby Smart presser notes. Which ones do you want first?
Let's hear the presser notes. I always want to hear what the boss man has to say.
All right, I have one question for him today. How do you coach out drops, or can you coach out drops? It's obviously been a problem for this offense. I think at this point, Georgia probably leads the nation in yardage loss. They were second entering the matchup against Texas and had several more crucial drops, all of which seem to be on explosives or potential explosive plays. Asked Kirby about it today. His answer, as usual, pretty interesting to me. He said that they start with the fact that we believe in them, right? And he even had this stat prepared, or at least knew the stat, said that they are second in the conference right now in pass attempts per game. And he uses that to look at his group and say, look, man, we're going to keep throwing the football. We believe in you guys. We've been throwing the football at a higher rate than pretty much anybody else in this conference right now, and we're going to continue to do so. And showing that sense of belief in our players will inevitably allow them to believe in themselves, and eventually they'll start to execute and catch the football consistently.
I mean, I think it may be a cliche thing to say of like, oh, we believe in you, but I think it does kind of have to start there of if you're dropping the football, especially some of these drops that Georgia's had. Like it's not just the deep ball like the one to Arian Smith in Alabama where, yeah, you got to come up with it, but there's also a little bit of grace as well of you're having to track it over your shoulder and make a heck of a catch still. I mean, some of these drops are just like maybe lack of focus, or I feel like I'm already going to drop it before it gets to me. Is
it safe to say that, given the fact that he had the statistic prepared, that this is a conversation that he's potentially already had with his unit?
Absolutely.
I think this is a thing he's had to talk to about with certain players in the past. We don't need to say who they are, but there have been guys going through the seasons prior where, it's like, hey, they're in a rut right now.
I mean, we can do it with a fan favorite because I know what you're trying to avoid, the specific syllables of ML. I'm sorry. But Ladd had a stretch like this.
Yeah.
Ladd McConkey had a stretch like this where he couldn't catch the football consistently. He had major drops, even a fumble.
Muff punts, fumbles,
Yeah.
drops against the Missouri game, like stuff
Matt
like
Landers,
that.
sorry, buddy. That's on me.
I tried to avoid it, man. I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
know, but I literally said Matt. That's on me. Sorry, Matt. Anybody else notorious dropper?
Oh, Reggie. Was it Reggie Davis?
Oh yeah.
Reggie Davis had a spell of these.
That you lost the 2015 Tennessee game because of that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
2015?
2015 Tennessee in Neyland
man.
Stadium.
but I mean, he also had
Blew a
streams.
24-point lead in that game
Yeah.
as well, I believe.
But Reggie Davis also.
We had Valdosta State on the damn ropes at home in 2015. Cody Griggs dropping a slant. Ugh. Sorry, D2 football. Real cutthroat stuff in 2015 going on. So I don't remember none of that era of Georgia football. Let's continue with these press conference notes. Open with the fact that they had a good practice today working on themselves, doing some quality control work on what they've got, going wrong right now. Worked on future opponents as well. They will continue to ramp up tomorrow with more future opponent work, and then they will start their preparation on Florida come Thursday. I wonder, sometimes I wish I worked other beats just to have a point of reference. I wonder if other football programs do this on bye weeks where they start scouting other opponents. The other opponents I would imagine they're scouting right now, Tennessee. Tennessee and Ole Miss. Those are two difficult offenses that present very unique challenges. I would imagine they're getting some work this week on that. Was asked about the targeting penalties. Said you can't duck your head as a defender. He actually led with that. Led with the fact that we've got to coach our guys' safety first because that's the way the game's going, and safety is important out here. But also mentioned that he doesn't want ball carriers lowering their head as well, and that was probably one of the main concerns for Georgia fans in those calls.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of the crux everyone has with the targeting penalty is that a lot of these targeting penalties come – we all get the defensive player. You come out blindside, hit him up high. Yes, that is textbook targeting. When it's two guys colliding with each other and the running back tucks his shoulder down and his head naturally goes down like this, you have two players that are coming at each other like that now. You're going to have head-on-head contact. I don't understand, and clearly Kirby Smart doesn't either, why the defensive player is punished as well when the two players are initiating contact. If anything, called on them both. I get it, but yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, to just helmet-on-helmet collision.
So I understand where Kirby's coming from, and yeah, absolutely, like you want to take the head out of the game. With the statistics on concussions, we all know what they are: neck injuries, head injuries. It's a very dangerous sport, and you want to keep players as safe as possible. So I get why you want to coach players out of that, and you should, but it has to be a two-way street, in my opinion.
What were your thoughts on the targeting penalties?
I mean, I kind of gave him yesterday. I kind of aligned with what Kirby's saying. Christian Kirby, I should say, because we're talking about Kirby Smart as well right now. I align with that of it's really tough when the offensive player is also lowering his helmet because we've already taught defenders that you can't go above the shoulders. You don't want to hit that part of the body. But, I mean, it's just a tough spot. It puts defenders in a tough spot already, but Georgia's done a good job of avoiding this over the span of Kirby Smart's career.
Basically since Lewis Cine and David Daniels stopped playing.
Yeah,
basically. But even Lewis Cine at the end of his career, he was good about it. He just murdered Kyle Pitts one time.
Was Javon Bullard the last targeting penalty you had called against you?
Oh, I couldn't tell.
I can't think of a time last season when a targeting penalty.
Chaz got one last year, I feel like.
Maybe.
I
I
think
know he
Chaz
got
had
one. I
one
know he
last
got
year.
one in the Orange Bowl.
Yes, but I think he had one last year as well.
Was asked about the secondary, mentioned their work in progress, and he used the term relatively new. He said they're not young, but they're all, relatively new starters. You lose 3 guys to the NFL. Says there's a lot of growing to do. All you can ask for them to do is work and compete. Said they got to make more plays on the football, and mentioned that the drop comment about how it's almost comical that we can't catch the football. He said that was directed towards the defensive backs in Saturday's game because he felt like they dropped 3 or 4 picks.
They did.
Yeah.
I can't rember them off the top of my head.
Raylan
Raylan had one.
Raylan had one. Julio had one on that slant.
Yeah. Yep.
Played it perfectly, hit him in
Yep.
the chest, dropped it.
There's 2.
At the end of the game, the fourth quarter drive, who was it? I think it was Chris Cole.
Oh, no. Ja'Cory Thomas had one hit right in his face. On the
Oh,
there was
yeah, he
one.
did.
Someone tried to snag with
As soon
one
as he
hand.
got in the game.
Chris Cole tried to snag one.
Chris
with
Cole
one
tried to
hand.
snag. I mean, there were 4 interceptions they left on the board.
And then the very first play of the game, Jalen
Yeah.
Walker's an inch away from tipping a ball up as well.
That's not a drop though. That's
No.
just
But that's the
Drop
difference.
drop a little more, man. Just drop a little more.
Just drop a little bit more. Jump a little bit higher. But just be like 1% over the 1% athlete you already are, Jalen. Just be even freaky, please. Was asked about positions of growth and what areas of growth since the first bye week. Said he feels like everyone's grown on this roster, as you would expect. Since that last bye week, they've gone to Alabama, to Texas, and had 2 SEC home games. Like that's a tough stretch in between buys. And he said they've got a 5-game stretch coming up that's really, really tough as well.
I mean, hell, you're in the middle of being on the road for a month.
Is it that bad?
Yeah.
Man, we're gonna spend some money.
Well, you've got the bye week. It doesn't count. So I mean, 3 weeks on the road.
I contemplated figuring out if we could get some credentials somewhere this weekend.
Just anywhere.
It's probably a little too late for that.
Yeah, I've already told my folks I'm coming home. So.
Oh,
I'll have to miss out on that.
It is Mom's birthday.
Your Ma Dukes or his Ma Dukes?
Mine.
Oh, shout out Ma Dukes.
Shit, it's my mom's birthday.
She a consistent watcher of the channel?
She checks in.
Hey, shout out Ma Dukes. A lovely woman. I met her at your wedding.
Yeah.
She is delightful.
She is. She's
All right.
awesome.
Drive versus Texas to close it out. Said it was a special one. One thing this offense has shown is resilience. Said that they continue to respond to scores. I feel like there's been multiple situations this year where they've been, back against the wall. He said they want to start aggressively, but it's good to know that they can play with their back up against the wall in those situations where we've got to have a score offensively. Targeting appeal process. I didn't know this was possible. Did you guys know this?
I'd heard something about it. I had never really seen it be initiated or heard about someone appealing it. I did remember it being a rule.
It was such an uncommon thing to me. And here's why I don't think we knew about it. And everyone in that room was asking him about it because they didn't know about it. And I didn't know about it. And I think the reason I didn't know about it is because you never win. You never win these appeal processes.
And honestly, I mean, Georgia hasn't really had to do them that much.
True. Was asked about Schumann's wife having a baby, and he made a joke about don't do that in the season. You need to have better planning. A good football – I think he said a real football coach doesn't have babies in the season. In the room laughed.
You're never going to sleep again.
Yeah. Well, you don't sleep anyways because you're a defensive coordinator
you're Glenn
in college
Schumann.
football, and you're Glenn Schumann. So, mentioned the second in the conference in passing. Nerdy response to the Brett Thorson question about pinning them deep on punts, and his response wasn't about the depth of the punt, but the location of the punt. He was really, really happy with those punts landing on the sideline. That guy catching that ball on the sideline. He said, when you're on the sideline, it's only one way for you to go.
Yep.
And that's why the coverage units were so good. So, yeah, I thought that was a little bit different of an answer than I expected. It's like, yeah, great job pinning them deep is what most people would say. He was giving credit to the actual location of those punts.
Atta baby.
Has he been the most consistent player through his tenure?
Peyton Woodring up there.
He's
as
on
well.
that track.
But he had a shaky start.
Shaky start, missed the first 2.
Like-
Missed first 3?
First 2 or 3. I think he went 3 out of 4.
1 for 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, you're right. I mean, Thorson for 3 years now?
Yeah.
3 years now has been a consistent dude.
And I mean, it's underrated. And I know
Camarda's ceiling, and he just got cut, by the way. Camarda's ceiling probably higher as a punter. Had a bigger leg, it felt like.
Yeah.
But Camarda was also due for a shankopotamus at least once every 3 or 4 games. And almost always in critical positions.
Yeah, it did happen a good bit. But I mean, it's so underrated when you're on your own 30 and you can pin an opponent on their 10. Like, it's like basically just get back to your own 30, 35, and they have to start their drive within the 10-yard line. Like, that's so underrated, and I think that's part of the reason why Georgia's been such a good team defensively over this stretch is because most of the time, defenses are getting the ability to start on their own 10.
He was like an inch away from pinning him inside the 1. Arian Smith, in the NFL, it would have been inside the 1 because Arian Smith could have gone into the end zone and thrown that ball back. Did you know that about college football?
Yeah, if it touches
the moment it crosses
plane.
the white line, it's
Yeah,
gone.
if it touches the plane, it's out.
Yeah. The photo crew next to me didn't know that rule,
Ah.
and I had to let them know that.
I wonder why that is. Like, seems like such a silly rule of why would that be any different?
I have no idea.
Interesting. Same as the contact rule for me.
All right, those are my press conference notes.
Any big takeaways you think? What were the vibes?
I had a
there?
takeaway of, I thought it was interesting that He was asked. I think he was asked specifically about Chris Cole, and he said Chris Cole has taken the biggest step forward out of anybody on this roster this season, and it's why he's been playing this year. It's why he has been out on the field when Smile got hurt. He was the first guy out there when they needed someone else to come in outside of Raylan and CJ. And he also said Justin Williams is right there as well, because I think that just kind of was assumed that Justin Williams, the higher-ranked guy, the higher-rated guy coming out of high school, the former 5-star, was going to be the one that steps in, but it was Chris Cole. And something that we've noticed, too, on film is that when Chris Cole's on the field, it's because they want him to cover. I just think that it's great that your two stud linebackers, and that's not even mentioning Christopher Jones either, your two stud linebackers are on track and ahead of schedule, it seems like.
I'm pulling up his highlights right now because if I remember correctly, there are clips of Chris Cole playing like traditional corner in high school.
Are we sure? Are we sure it was traditional corner?
I'm almost 100% positive my memory.
Not even like
correctly
motioned out in your man.
I mean, they had him.
one-on-one?
They had him. Maybe it was out of empty, but they had him playing everywhere in high school, like safety, wide receiver, tight end, defensive end, edge, linebacker. Like they had him doing absolutely everything. This clip I'm looking at right now is him running X and high pointing and mossing people. So this is and he mentioned Smile getting hurt, opening up opportunities, but I think this guy would have found his way onto the field no matter what because of his ability to cover tight ends. And that's what they're doing with him, by the way. They're getting into two-man looks where they're just like, all right, everyone's going to play man-to-man, including this true freshman guarding Gunner at helm. So, yeah, he's a
The best weapon on the field.
The best weapon on the field. Have the true freshman run out there and get into bump and run with it.
Absurd.
Insane.
Stupid.
Insane. He's like 6'4", 220, sub 11 seconds in the 100. He's a freak. He's a freak.
Man.
So yeah, Chris Cole. All right, we have film notes, but I'm a little winded.
A little winded?
Yeah, a little lightheaded, not winded. Just talking a lot.
Do you want to rank these top
Could be
five?
the Zen Daddy. What?
The Zen Daddy.
It's a 3.
Child, don't be.
Oh, he's
exposing it, brother.
exposing you.
This coming from. I mean, this guy might as well be a Mormon. No vices for this dude at all. Zero. He might as well be a Mormon. Even when he drinks, he's like whiskey straight, can't have mixers, poison for my body.
No,
This guy.
I just don't like.
If I gave you that Zen 3 right now, you'd be on your back.
Probably.
Yeah. So, fuck off. Fuck off.
That was personal.
I mean, shit.
My
I heard
bad,
tested
dude.
my manhood on my vices.
My bad, dude. But no, do you want to go through ranking these Kirby Smart wins?
Yeah, that's a fun little break.
I
before we get
forgot
into
he
film
was
notes.
I forgot he could have hit 100. So that flew so under the radar going into this game.
Yeah, we didn't even have an article prepared.
Yeah, I know, and usually I remember writing one before the season even started. Like, hey, Kirby Smart's going to hit 100 wins this year.
Fastest in SEC history.
Word?
Insane.
Yeah, he won game faster than Nick Saban.
Washed goat?
Ooh, maybe. Is Kirby Smart the GOAT?
Is Kirby the GOAT? But how about these 100 wins? Give me your 5.
Do you want to go first, Joe?
I'll go first.
We were thought, okay.
No, I'm going first.
I'm a little lightheaded. I think we need to do a different segment.
Number 5, both Notre Dame wins.
Can you rank them both?
Let's go OLI, the home win. Number 5,
I've got
the road win.
I've got a bunch of OLI.
Number 4, this Texas win. Number 3, the Ohio State Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl win.
All right.
Massive.
Massive.
Number 2, the TCU Natty. Number 1, the Bama Natty.
Then there's a critical error in that list.
I knew I was going to forget something.
Yeah, you forgot a really big one. All right, I'll give you my 5. Number 5, I got the 2022 Tennessee win. I think that I might be partially biased.
Is that
to
rain
this.
game?
Rain game. I was at that game as a student. I just thought the stadium
Insane
environment
game.
was off the chain.
So
I thought
fun.
everything about it was just a quintessential Kirby Smart win.
Just to tell you how far we've come, I didn't get credentials to that football game. Continue.
Number 4, I have the Peach Bowl. I have the Ohio State win. Number 3, 2017 Rose Bowl.
A home game with the number 1 team in the country, and I was at home in my garage sweating my ass off. Continue.
Yeah, number 3, the Rose Bowl, 2017 Rose Bowl.
I mean, they gave a credential to the other SI team Continue.
The Rose Bowl, Brooks.
The Rose Bowl. Shit.
Yeah.
I forgot the Rose Bowl.
Now he's catching on.
Damn.
Now he's catching on.
Damn. Rose Bowl.
Notre Dame win that year was great.
To hell with that Notre Dame win over Ian Book's shitty ass. Give me that Rose Bowl.
Actually, it was Wimbush, I
Devin
believe.
Wimbush.
Well,
Devin
he
Wimbush.
beat Ian Book at home. He beat
he
Ian
did.
Book at home.
No, he did.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that one comes in at number 3 for me, and then 2022 Natty, and then 2021 Natty at number 1.
Space was a problem. I don't have enough space for you.
Hey, they got a new press box, though. So.
Yeah, new press.
That's why they built it. We got to get room for Brooks.
Yeah,
for
that's it. That's
Brooksy.
it. That's it.
I didn't know a lot because there's so many good wins on
What's OLI stand for?
outside looking in.
Oh.
Did you not think I knew that?
No, I didn't know. What's your OLI?
I had 5 OLIs here. I had the first win, UNC 2016.
5 OLIs? Why didn't you just do a top 10?
Yeah, come on.
Well, I could have done that, but then I didn't want everyone to get mad at me. So
Okay. So let's just give us the 5 OLIs.
you do this a lot too.
Do I?
Yes.
I didn't even know what an OLI was. This is news to me.
We got a top 3. 15 OLIs.
UNC 2016. It's your first win. It was
The
kind of
Brian Harrion game.
Yeah, Brian Harry and Nick Chubb had 226 rushing yards, I believe. So kind of got things going. Notre Dame 2019, obviously, that was at the time the biggest win in Sanford Stadium, biggest crowd, introduced the lights. Tennessee 2022, I have that one there. Big win, number 1 team, huge win. I was also in that game, amazing crowd, so definitely deserves it. 2017 SEC championship game, your first SEC championship in 12 years. You got revenge against the Auburn team. Iconic DeAndre Swift run. Texas 2024 is also on this list. Huge road win against a number 1 team. Here's my number 5, and I'm going to ration out this one, and I think that I'm going to get some askew looks here. I have the number 5 best Kirby Smart win is the 2023 Orange Bowl, and let me elaborate on that. I think that is the most quintessential example of what sets Kirby Smart apart from different teams and different coaches. Say you have this team that is on the cusp of making college football history, getting a three-peat, winning 3 straight national titles. They lose to Bama, they're eliminated. Those players and those coaches could have thrown their hands up and said, you know what, we came so close, but now we're going to turn our attentions to the NFL draft. Kamari Lasser, Javon Bullard, Lad McConkey, the list goes on and on and on. The fact that all of those guys stayed back and you beat the ever-living shit out of a Florida State team, and retroactively looks like you kind of broke them because they've won 1 game since then. I think that is such a huge win, and it's monumental for Kirby Smart, and it speaks volumes about what that program is and how he has those players playing for him. It obviously isn't that program defining. It wasn't that big in the grand scheme of things. It was an exhibition game that you weren't playing for a national title. But I think that's one of the best Kirby Smart wins. So that's kind of my rant on that. 2017 Rose Bowl's up there as well at my number 4. I had the Natty at 2022. That was a great game. It's obviously a national title. Back-to-back wins is big. But I think the Ohio State Peach Bowl was just a little bit bigger. It was a big-name game. You were down 14 points in that game.
And his performance in that football game was
that
far
was
more important.
that was also what I was going to say. His coaching performance in this game far exceeded what he did against TCU. Now, he didn't really have to do much against TCU because you beat him by 58 points. But
Is that the most impactful timeout ever called?
yes.
That was my take after that game.
Yeah.
It's the best coaching timeout ever.
Yeah, so that's
on
why
that
I have
fake
it.
punt.
That's why I have it as Kirby Smart's number 2 win because I think that's his best
One
coaching.
of his best coach.
That's
games
his
ever.
best coaching. And obviously, number 1 is the 2021 Natty. Changed the trajectory of this program, ended the drought, did everything that people were hoping you were able to do as a coach. So, massive win. That's number 1.
The only reason why I put the 2022 Natty over the Peach Bowl is because winning the Natty,
Yeah.
the confetti falling on the field, knowing that you officially just did everything that a majority of media pundits said you weren't going to be able to do this offseason of, Stetson Bennett came back. Why isn't he gone? That dude should have left your program. You lost 15 players to the NFL draft. There's no way you're going through and winning another national title in back-to-back years. There's no way you're going to pull this off. And there you are, atop of the world yet again, back-to-back years. You did something that no other team in the college football playoff has ever done.
Absolutely. They're both incredible wins, and it's neck and neck.
No, I agree. I mean, the Ohio State game was more of a national championship than TCU was.
For sure.
Boy, they got obliterated. They got shit on. Wow. Oh, man. Woo. And they played all their guys.
Yeah, they did.
You know it's bad when you
It's crazy.
start feeling sorry for the opposing team in the national championship game.
Midway through the second
Before
quarter.
before halftime, and you're like, oh man, I kind of feel bad for TCU.
Yeesh.
Like they had so much hope coming in this game, and they just got a hole kicked through their chest.
It was very akin to that Broncos Seattle Super Bowl years ago.
Yeah.
Where the game opens with a safety and you're like, oh my God, this team is going to get shit on.
Here's our fourth running back on the roster, Branson Robinson.
Good luck tackling him. Oh, man. Whew. Film notes?
Let's do it.
Hit 'em.
What you got?
Film notes. I first note, and I think the most important thing, and by the way, if you haven't watched the film study and you're here, man, are you a rarity. Guys, I think our numbers are like 7-1 with regards to people who watch film versus the ones who watch live shows. So we need to get those numbers on these live shows up much higher compared to what we do on the film, even though the film's great work. We all know that. But if you haven't watched it, I'm going to give you the rundown now and just the overview of how this game played out. Georgia earned the right to be exotic on third downs on defense. They were so sound in discipline on first and second down against the run that it was basically over with. When you're in 3rd and 6+ against this Georgia defense, you're going to have a really, really tough time throwing the football because now your depth of target has increased, right? You're having to drive the ball down the field to convert the sticks. That's going to lead to Georgia pass rush dialing things up. You have to live in 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3 or less against this Georgia team to have a lot of success. Wide zone defense. All right, the wide zone stretch run game has been something Texas has had a lot of success with, and going into this football game, it was one of the keys. If you're gonna stop the run, you got to be able to play this wide zone really, really well, and the key to it was not allowing displacement. That's something we talked a lot about last week, not getting knocked off, not creating massive amounts of voids in this defense. But the real key was holding that front line, keeping those offensive linemen at the line of scrimmage, not allowing any displacement, and allowing those linebackers to run free as they did all night while keeping outside contained. The edge rushers forcing things back in, the corners forcing things back in was a major key to the success of stopping that Texas run game. I tweeted about it. We talked about it on the show. Raylan Wilson had the game of his life in terms of an eye discipline department. And I thought one of the more important things for Georgia in this football game, and you guys can feel free to talk about this, I felt like Malachi Starks looked like Malachi Starks again.
Oh, 100%. I thought
It was a major key to this game.
he covered well. He pursued the ball like he usually does. It looked like 24 was playing how he had the last 2 years. It looked like, yeah, that's the best safety in America.
He definitely got his mojo back in that.
Yeah, and they were so locked in on the mission as a whole. I recall one specific play that was a testament of just how mentally locked in they were on this football game. There's a 2nd and 10. Texas goes to run the football. Warren Brinson beats his man, has a TFL. It's now 3rd and 12. Okay, that's Warren Brinson. I've watched Warren Brinson play football for a long time now. 99.9% of the time, Warren Brinson's getting up and he's letting everybody know he just made a play. He's getting up and he's celebrating. He's doing something. He's showing excitement because he has fun playing football. And not that he didn't have fun Saturday night, because whipping ass is fun. But as soon as he gets up off the field or off that play, immediately eyes locked to the sideline. You know who celebrates for him? Jalen Walker. Jalen Walker goes over there, slaps him on the helmet, gives him a little ass tap. They go on to the next play, 3rd and 12, and get off the field. Mm-hmm. And that right there was the epitome of that football game. They were so locked in on the mission.
That, and I'm sure you've seen it by this point, the one that in the
Julian
fourth
Humphrey.
quarter, Julian Humphrey and Jalen Walker come in and saying, hey, knock that shit off. Like,
Yeah.
one, that's the vocal leadership that we've kind of been looking for is finally starting to come through. And two, that you're absolutely right. It goes to show the fact that this team was so focused on handling business that it's honestly kind of terrifying.
Jayla Walker's out alpha.
Yeah.
Him.
Yeah.
You want a little birdie nug from Patreon that I gave them this weekend?
Yes.
Will Muschamp had a little bit to do with this game plan. Maybe a lot bit to do.
Don't you think that makes people a little concerned, though, hearing
Why?
that? Because what that means, what I would imagine, like, it's a next instant thought is,
Why didn't you do that all the time?
yeah,
Because he's
or
an analyst?
or does that mean we're going to instantly regress now because he's not going to be doing that every week?
No. I think it's important that when you need a perfect game plan, you get as many resources dedicated to that
You
perfect
get
game
Kirby
plan as
Smart,
possible.
Glenn Schumann, and you get Will Muschamp.
Yeah,
Green
you get the trilogy. Oh, and here's T-Rob as well.
Yeah.
You know, you get them all. Trey Scott knows a little something about football as well. No, I don't think you need to be worried about. I mean, Will Muschamp being involved with the game plan didn't make Daniel Harris bite on a double move against Mississippi State.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's goofy. But I think when you have an analyst like this that's an elite defensive mind, you get tendency breakers better than anybody else because you have a guy whose job that week is to just do that. You know what I mean? Just go search and find as many answers and find as many nugs as we can possibly dig deep on. And by the way, it's not like he's leaving the staff. You know what I mean? He's going to be available for all the big games.
He a dog
big
for
games
life.
moving forward. He a dog for life.
4L.
D4L. Let's see here. I thought they had quite a bit of a tendency lean on those guys. Seemed to me they were teeing off quite a bit. When I see guys tee off like that, not only are they uber prepared, I think they know a little something. I think they know a little something based off tendencies. I don't think I saw a single bust on tape. I don't think I saw a single busted coverage. That's elite. It was clear to me that 15 was the NFL first rounder in this football game.
The one I would say is a bust is when the back slipped out and dropped that Texas route.
Oh yeah, on the double right after the interception.
Hitting.
That was hitting right down the middle line or midline of the
But
field.
other than that, no.
You're right. Good call on that one. Yeah, I mentioned it, and you had a good stoppage there on that. It was clear to me that Georgia had the far better quarterback in that football game. I know that Texas was dealing with a lot more pressure. A lot of that's by design of your offense, by the way. When you're a heavy play-action football team that's really only going to be a 2 or 3 man concept football team, and you can't protect with 7 guys, that's on you, Bubba.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the quarterback has to manage, but it wasn't like Carson was playing in clean pockets all night either.
No.
So, I feel like Carson controlled that game like a vet as well and had a few moments that he looked like he was lacking a bit of confidence.
Yeah, Carson made the plays he needed to when he needed to. Like that's what it boiled down to. Did he have a great game overall? No. I mean, 0 touchdowns, less than 200 passing yards, 3 interceptions. Stat line wasn't that pretty, but if you go back to the moments when it was like, all right, we need a big play from Carson here. It's 3rd and 10. We're backed up on our own 15.
Ripper.
They're getting momentum right now. We need this drive to be sustained at the very least. Straight over the middle and over to Arian Smith. Hey, it's 3rd and 5. We had the opportunity to kind of kill clock here. It's late in the 4th quarter. We have the lead in hand, but we really want to make sure they don't get the ball back. Carson Beck scrambles for a first down. Stuff like that was what set him apart from Quinn Ewers.
I mean, there's multiple 3rd downs in that game where Carson's making the right read, or what would be the right read. Either drop pass, like one to London Humphreys that gets dropped, or the one to Arian Smith where maybe your wide receiver's getting a little too deep.
Yeah.
And you're putting it in the right spot maybe, but he's not in the right spot.
Do we have Epic Pen over there?
We do.
I want to talk about that Arian Smith interception without the film. I want to talk about all 3 interceptions. I thought the first one was a great play by the Makuba kid.
Yeah.
Sneaking back up underneath that as a hook curl defender on the far side of the play is insane. So great play by Makuba on the first one. Not much as a quarterback we can really do to avoid that player doing that type of freaky shit on a game day. The second interception, I thought it was a miss that was catchable. The one to Lawson Lucky, I thought that was a bad throw. We've explained it on the film study why his footwork was a little set to the out route. He's supposed to do that because you have to set your bottom half to the outward breaking route and then work your hands back in or work your arm angle back into the slant and make your arm right for your lower half. The third interception, I think, is on Arian Smith, and let's take it to the board to explain why. All right, so they're in duos on this play. All right, so it means they have 2 receivers on either side of the football. Okay, I believe the running back was to the right of Carson on this play. All right, they had Jurasic right here. They had Dylan Bell on the line of scrimmage over here. I can't remember who was in the slot. Actually, I do. It was Dominic Lovett. And they had Arian Smith over here on the line of scrimmage. It is what's called a mirrored concept, meaning we have the same thing on both sides. They had the seal or the field fades out here to occupy safeties, and they were getting a cover 3 look, all right, from Texas, and they were attacking the windows of those corners. Those corners were playing inside leverage, but to the field, face to the sideline, meaning if we work this comeback out here, hypothetically as a coordinator, we think it's running to grass. When I pause the clips, all right, at the top of these routes, they're mirrored, meaning on both sides they should be breaking at the same time. When you pause that play, when the ball is in the air, Arian Smith is fully engaged, arms on the defensive back to the quarterback. The ball's in the air. On the other side of the field, when you look at the film, Dylan Bell's completely out of his break, ready to catch a football because he's ran it to the proper depth. He's broke out of the route at the right time. I think it's on Arian. And Kirby, I know you've looked at the play. How would you diagnose what happened on that play?
It was so weird because I even watching the replay, like trying to figure out what Arian Smith was doing.
He doesn't think he's getting the ball.
Because here's the thing. It looks like he's going to block.
Yeah.
He engages with the corner like he's going to block. Usually if you're coming off of a hitch route, yeah, you can push off, but you immediately get your head around.
Yeah.
He was keeping engagement, and the only reason he turned his head around was because the DB got behind the corner and turned around. That's what caused him to turn his head around. So, I mean, I don't even know if he ran the route too deep as much as it was he just didn't run the right play. He maybe thought we were doing a bubble screen or something like that where I'm going out and blocking the corner, but I still don't know. I mean, I don't think it was on Carson. The fact that Arian Smith didn't even get his head around would tell me that it's probably not on Carson, but it's a weird play, and you'll probably never get the answer on it because Kirby Smart giving you the answer on that would have to put someone underneath the bus, and he will not do that. He's not Hugh Freeze, so it's one of those things where you're just like, what the hell happened there, man? But you ended up winning the game. That call was what it was. It took away any excuse for Texas fans, so all in all, it worked out in the end, but very weird play.
I thought Bobo called an excellent football game.
Yep.
Plenty of new concepts in this game as well.
Was that the best game Bobo called all season?
He called a heck of a game against Bama.
Yeah.
He did.
I was going to say that, and people are going to balk at me.
People are going to balk at you, and yeah, but I mean, more than ever, it felt like, and yeah, Bama was kind of the case too, but it was just like anytime you need a winner, it was there. The winners he drew up were there. The only reason they didn't work was because execution.
Facts. He didn't wait to attack in this game either. Right? As soon as he saw a deficiency, that's why I tweeted out. I thought he did a better job of being Sark than Sark did. Sark's best ability is to identify where the defense is vulnerable and never, ever, ever be slow to attack it. He's immediately going to get to it. That play in the goal line was a prime example of that. All right. Not only that, he was the aggressor for 4 quarters. He made Texas's defense play on their heels, never really knowing what was going to happen, to the point where I almost felt like he was a bit too aggressive at times.
Yeah.
In this football game. I mean, that play that London Humphreys drops the football, there's 9.5 minutes left, 2nd and 10. They're about to initiate offense again and get right back on it and go. I mean, he was ready to cut throats in this football game. The trick play call to Oscar was elite. The timing of that was great as well. And this is what I've always admired about Mike. He's really, really creative in spurts when he needs to be. The problem was when he was at Colorado State and Auburn, they had to throw those in early in the football games and couldn't wait for key moments in the game to dial up these winners. That was a very key moment in that football game. They get that first down, 3rd and 10, and then immediately come back to that virtual trick play.
I mean, completely flipped the field in 2 plays.
Yeah, they went from their own 20-yard line to now you're on their 30.
And you were in the stadium. It completely zapped the stadium.
Sucked the air out of it.
Completely sucked the air out of the stadium. Immediately after that possession, I started seeing people head to the exits. Immediately.
Yeah, I mean, Texas fans left early.
Very, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, they were.
Some of them could have been going to get more beer.
No, because when I was walking down the course to come to the field, there were about 8 minutes left in the game. Texas had the ball, still down 15.
Yeah.
Very much could have remained in that game. Texas fans were leaving.
Drops were horrible. Almost all of them felt like they were on 10 to 15-yard completions as well.
Yeah, big
these
drops.
These weren't drops on like,
oh, you dropped the bubble.
Yeah, you dropped a bubble, you dropped a 2-yard gain. No, these were all 12, 15, 16-yard gains that were put on the turf. I thought 55 Jared Wilson's mic identifications were a little bit concerning. Not concerning, but they need to get cleaned up. And it's a good thing your quarterback can clean them up because he did in the middle of the football game. But I'd rather him not have to do that on the road.
Is that? Do you think if a different player is in, does that happen?
It doesn't matter that it happened because it got corrected.
Right.
But I didn't see things having to be corrected that much in the last 2 football games.
Okay. No, I mean the last 2 football games were at home, benefit of the doubt there, and they were against lesser defenses. But I'm just trying to give food for thought there, because I know we talked about how there's kind of this who we're gonna have at center when Jared Wilson comes back, because Drew Bobo has played very well enough to not lose that spot. So
The Mike IDs were a little questionable. The performance was not.
fair.
Dude's playing really, really good football right now. As are 52, 78, 10, 13, 11, 32, and 93. Every single one of those guys made a play, a big play on Saturday night. And you're finally healthy at those positions. Finally healthy at those positions.
Only missing Jordan.
Man, Kevin Boyd in the chat knows me. Brooks all about them Waffle House hash browns with 57 sauce. You god dang right.
Never had the 57 sauce.
Oh, you sleeping. You sleeping big time, buddy. You need to get over there right now and hit on the 57
I
sauce.
have one right by my place.
Yeah, you need to. Well,
good.
actually, Waffle House got rid of them because not enough people are using Heinz 57. Yeah, so you might have to go to the Walmart and get some Heinz 57.
Smuggle
or
it
Publix.
in.
Yeah. Let's hit some super subs right here. SSM on Indiana making the playoffs. That's a sliding scale majiggy joke, and I'm going to go about 68.9%.
Whoa. 68?
Subject to change.
Dang, we're so close.
Subject to change.
So close to the magic number.
Yep. All right. Final thoughts on this football game after my notes.
This is a game that I think if you played it 9 more times, you would have 9 wildly different results ranging from pick your poison. I think there is an avenue for Georgia to win this game by 30 points. I think there was an avenue for Texas to come back and win this game. I think there was an avenue for Texas to take over this game early. And I don't want to transition too early, but that kind of scares you, knowing that the result you got was a great one, and it was a result you absolutely earned. Georgia did everything right in this result, in this game. But I don't think it plays out the same way every single time. Not to say you lose, but I think every time, if these teams played 9 more times, it would be 9 different results.
I disagree. I think if these teams play 9 more times, the only way Texas wins is with a rock fight. Defense wins it.
Yeah, I was almost going to say this would be one of those instances where I think you feel good about a rematch.
Yeah.
Like if you were to play them again, you're getting them on a neutral field. You don't even have to go to Texas. You don't have to deal with any of that. You get your offense in a better environment. I just think that, like, you forced 3 interceptions on Carson. That doesn't happen very often. It's how Alabama ended up winning that football game, but they capitalized off of those. I mean,
it's his 3rd multi-interception or multi-turnover football game in 21 starts.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often. And when that does happen, you got to capitalize on that. And Texas didn't manage to do that. And the other thing, too, of, like, okay, you can make some offensive adjustments against Georgia's defense now that you've seen them. There ain't a whole lot of adjustments you can make of we can't block.
We got to win at the line.
Yeah, that's basically what you're having to go into that game saying of, I mean, they still covered you. People were saying, like, oh, it's because they were getting to the quarterback while they weren't able to make passes. Georgia was covering a lot of the time. They were, I mean, even if he did have time, there's not a whole lot of places to go with the football.
I agree. I gave my final thoughts on it. What were yours?
Right. I got 3. One, here's the primary observation from this football game. If the prep is solely for the scheme's going to get beat. If Georgia gets to spend all week worrying about your scheme and not worrying about your players, then they're probably going to come out and have a really, really good performance. This is a spinoff of the schemes don't beat Georgia, players do. If you give Will Muschamp, if you give Glenn Schumann, if you give Kirby Smart a week to prepare for formational stressors or motion stressors or whatever, their players are going to be really, really comfortable the moment they go out there and see that. But if they spend all week worrying about winning their one-on-ones, that normally loses football games for them, or at least defensively causes concerns. Carson's still got room for improvement. That was another note. And it's not what most people think it is. Most people think it's, I don't know. But my area for improvement on Carson is when he is scrambling right, specifically when he avoids rush and starts to extend plays to his right. Those have got to be kill shots moving forward. And that's the moment I said yesterday on the show. That's the moment I'll start getting on the bandwagon of Carson Beck for Heisman. When he starts scrambling right and hitting, guys that are going vertical on scramble drills, when he starts throwing those balls downfield with confidence and hitting those guys for big explosives, then that's the moment. Because he's taken that progression from being able to extend out of the pocket and start to use his legs and start to stress defenses. But I feel like every time he does it, he's very, very quick to check the football down, drive the ball down the field. I think it's going to lead to some explosive plays.
Do you think that maybe it's because he is still a little new to this? That because now he does have
New to the extensions of the play? Yeah,
like that's kind of something that he's involved to. But I would also go back and say I believe the throw, the famous throw that he made before he was a starter at Georgia against South Carolina.
Curious.
Yeah, that was when he was rolling to his right, was it?
But that
not?
was a design rollout to the right.
I got
That's
you.
different than we're taking a 3-step drop. We click through our reads. Right tackle's running the defensive end past the launch point. I'm moving to my right now.
Yeah,
It's time to
got you.
kill. It's time to kill. Once we get out there, it's time to go out there and throw some bombs. And then my final observation is something we've kind of already talked about. Texas's defense is really good.
Yes.
When I watched that film, I saw a defense that probably could have mixed coverage a little bit more. They settled in on one coverage eventually in that football game. A lot of middle of the field closed looks, but overall, from the line of scrimmage standpoint, linebacker standpoint, safeties identifying things, they play really, really good football. And I thought they got put in some bad positions because their offense just could not flip field position in this game. But I thought Texas's defense showed its abilities to be a high-end defense when not put in shit spots.
Yeah, I mean, I think every scoring drive Georgia had, with the exception of one, started on Texas's own territory.
Yeah.
Like, your defense has already set such.
And it was the killer.
Yeah.
It was the one at the end of the football game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I mean, you're at such a disadvantage as a defense, and for the most part, you held them pretty well. You held them to 3 field goals. They had to crawl and scratch for 2 of the touchdowns. So Texas's defense, I mean, absolutely played great.
I'm getting text messages from referees that were watching the film study today, watching me go conspiracy theorist. Text, those refs were definitely listening to upstairs. Have you seen the video?
Yeah. Here's my issue with it. The ball was set. The offense was on the field about to snap a play. And then the bottles start coming in, and that's when the discussion took place. Little sketch to me.
The weirdest thing about, and we pointed out in the film study today, the weirdest thing about that is the referees aren't talking to each other.
Never.
The referees are clearly listening to whatever's in their ear. They're not having discussions.
The man
amongst
was
each other.
telling them what to do.
That's what I mean, that was the conspiracy.
Always listening to the man.
Yeah, somebody upstairs in the headsets.
We need some free thinking refs in this world. Not these yes men.
Not corruptible yes men.
Exactly. We don't need the ACC refs. We need proper free thinkers.
Someone who ain't afraid to give a bird to the big man upstairs.
That's right. Not that big man.
What the hell does that even mean? Give a bird to the
double
man?
birds, man.
Oh.
Screw you.
I'm
I
like-
ain't fixing this
I'm
game.
like, why are we sending messaging birds up to the man upstairs? So why don't you just say a prayer, my guy?
The man the man in the box.
Yes.
Not the man upstairs.
Which football team scare you, Christian Kirby?
Texas scares me.
Still?
I've talked about this. It's hard to beat a team twice. We've seen this. And
Is it though?
I mean, statistically speaking, the only one who really had success with it in the recent years is Kalen DeBoer. And shout out to him for doing that. And again, I talked about it earlier. I know that Georgia's defense had an incredible game, and surely they did, and they absolutely did, and they deserve all the flowers. I have a hard time believing that the results would be the exact same if you lined up and played another time this week. And I think that
that'd be worse. No, I'm just kidding.
well, and not only that, it would be part of the reason why Texas would scare me is it would suck so much to have such a big win against the number 1 team. You go into their home crowd, you beat them at home, you handle them at home, you beat them by 2 scores, and have that team be the one that ends your season when you're trying to play for a national title in the postseason. That's part of the reason why they scare me most, because the fact that you beat them already, losing to them in a more consequential spot would suck. That's part of the reason.
I got a list of 5 teams. Tennessee, if they ever get their explosives down, they can run the football and play defense. If they hit their explosives and have a good day on you, they could beat you. Oregon, for the same reasons. I think Oregon has talented football players across the lines of scrimmage and has a quarterback right now that's starting to figure it out with new weaponry. Ohio State, just from a talented roster standpoint, top to bottom, they've got enough dudes to make it a tight football game. Texas A&M, sneaky tough matchup for anybody just because of the defense and the ability to run the football, and they can cover. They can really cover, and they can get after the quarterback. Miami's offense Miami's offense could be special enough.
No, they're hexed. I'm not.
Miami's
buying
offense could score 52.
it. Selling it against.
Maybe not against Georgia, but
Louisville.
they can score.
I'm selling everything Miami has. I'm not buying.
Those are the
it.
matchups, in my opinion, that would give Georgia problems right now in college football. Everybody else, I think they handle, Texas included.
Did you say Ohio State?
I did.
Okay.
I mean, I'm anti-Will Howard as far as a man can be. But the roster top to bottom's quality enough. You got to have dudes, man.
Oh yeah,
You
absolutely.
got to be able to line it up, play
got-
some foosball.
You got to have a good defense, and you
Gotta
got
have
to
good
be,
D.
and you got to be able to move the offense enough. You got to be efficient on offense,
Mm.
but then that would be one reason why maybe, like Ohio State, if Georgia played the run that well,
Yeah.
what are they gonna do?
I think they got better weaponry than Texas.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
for sure.
And right now, better quarterback play. That's crazy.
More consistent. Yeah.
Oh no, are you coming around?
I'm not coming
Are you
around. I'm
coming
just
around?
fan-
Oh,
fading.
he's a Will Howard
I'm
fan.
fading.
Are you
I'm fading.
coming
He's a
around?
Will
Are
Howard
you
fan.
Fading Quinn Ewers. You don't put words in my mouth, man. Don't
You
put
fade
words
Quinn
in my
Ewers
mouth.
after you were pretty high on him last week.
No. I say he's not playing very well. No denying the tape. I was all over the Michigan stuff
Yeah,
because of the swag that Mans was playing with in that game.
he didn't look good.
But he's lost all of his confidence, it feels like.
He lost his mojo.
Tennessee defense definitely deserves a shout out in this conversation.
Yeah.
That
their
defense
defense
can
is
cause
playing well.
problems. It's kind of nasty for you, honestly.
Who else do you have on this list?
I think you kind of hit all the ones that I would have put on my list. On Georgia's schedule, I think it is Tennessee because the defense is playing good, and that's what it takes. Like you're gonna have to stop Georgia's offense consistently, and the way that Tennessee's defense is playing, they've been shown to do that. They can get to the quarterback, they can cover. They've shown all of those things. So
We're going to get a good look at them this week. I'm going to break down that Alabama-Tennessee
Yeah.
football game.
And one more team I do think deserves some respect on the schedule is Ole Miss. They're still talented. I mean, I know we've kind of written them off because the things Lane Kiffin hasn't exactly gone well. They haven't lived up to expectations. You still have to play that game on the road. The Ole Miss crowd is still going to be excited for it, even though we don't think it's that crazy of an environment. But get down 7-0 in that game and have a turnover.
see, I think it's a dangerous game because I think that environment is going to be kind of dead.
Could be.
Sleepy environment.
I think it's going to be a
night
bunch
game,
of
isn't it?
Ole Miss fans that are like, well, I got tickets to this game, so I got to show up. But I feel like I know what's about to happen.
It's the most dangerous game left on your schedule from the aspect of you could come into it not expecting much of a fight and get one. I think everyone's going to expect Tennessee and Georgia to be kind of this massive top 10 matchup between two teams that they're both going to be up for. If you roll into Ole Miss and they're ranked 19th and it's like, well, they don't have much to play for. Lane Kiffin's probably 1 foot out the door. It's a roster full of mercenaries. They could catch you.
All right, before we get into our bye week goals, let's hit this last super chat from Cyber Proxy. If 15 kept it a few more times on those inside zones, would it help the run game? Yeah, but I don't want Carson running. I think it was good that Carson pulled that one ball, but the avoidance of contact for 15, not great. Not great.
I just
about
don't
it.
think he cares.
He about it.
You don't think he cares about his body?
I just
I'm
think
gonna
he
throw that
runs that
thing.
way because he literally he just dives. He's
You know,
like, "Ah."
he's kind of shattered glass in that.
Well, no, he takes hits well, but he just exposes himself to
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I mean. Like it's like, well, bro, slide.
Yeah, he's the glass in the Flex Seal commercials that's constantly putting itself in exposure, but it's real tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Carson. All right, bye week goals. Number one, the number one most important thing Georgia needs to do during the bye week: invest in some stickum.
Ooh.
That's it.
Shot at the wide.
That was
Invest
one of my-
in some stickum.
One
Is
of the
that
best
outlaw?
scenes ever from facing the little Giants.
His hand stuck to his chest. That's getting clipped.
Number two, Ja'Cory Thomas and Jake Pope week.
See, I was gonna say this one, but then I was also kind of like, don't you just practice like you normally would?
You think?
Yeah, like you're still getting your starters, your reps, but maybe you sprinkle in a little more Ja'Cory and a little more Jake Pope because you got to for a first half. But other than that,
I think it's great that it's the bye week because you
Yeah.
can spend the whole bye week doing this.
yeah, and I mean, it was a very small portion of the game, but Ja'Cory looked ready.
Number three, stay healthy. Normally going into a bye week, it's get healthy. I
Yeah.
think Georgia, and I know Tate's hurt and Rod Rob's out and Branson's out, and I know there's some banged up Jordan Hall still kind of waiting to get back in full health. I know there are some injuries on this football team, but as of right now, considering what Georgia normally is looking at in terms of an injury report, this is a pretty lucky football team from the injury bug standpoint. So just stay healthy this week.
Yeah.
What do you guys got?
Was that all you had?
Yep.
I had first, become a well-oiled machine on offense.
Grease it up.
Grease up. They've had times where there's winners there and execution isn't there. No. Calm down, Diddy. But just become so efficient. The most efficient version of the Georgia offense is unstoppable. We've seen it. There's been winners throughout every single game they've played. Where they've hit on them has been inconsistent, and that's what you need to become a well-oiled machine on, whether it's missed blocks on screens, busted routes, all of the above. I mean, just become more efficient on offense. Second is get as many guys back as you can. I know that we talked about how, stay healthy, that's important. It would be really nice if you come into Florida and say, hey, yeah, Smile London's going to play. Yeah, Tate Rattler's going to play. Hey, maybe Rob comes back. Guys like that that have been kind of lingering with injuries. If you can get all those guys back throughout this week, that's a huge plus to your team. And then the third one is mentally and physically prepare for the rest of this stretch. You haven't played in Athens. It'll be a month by the next time you play your next home game. You just got off the road at Texas. You're going to play at Jacksonville. Then you have to go to Ole Miss. That's a tough stretch. Then you come back, play Tennessee at home. That's a tough stretch. I think you're in the toughest stretch of the season right now. So you have to be mentally and physically prepared for it.
Let's get nostalgic tape ready because I want to.
Oh, we already got it ready.
Ooh. What do you got, Jay Will?
Gain some confidence in the wide receiver room. I think that's kind of a gimme. And I understand too that is also more so earned in game moments. It's great to do it in practice, but once you start doing it consistently in a game, I think that's when you'll start getting some real confidence from this wide receiver room. And I kept it at only 2 this week. My last one was finalize the offensive line rotation and just get it nailed down.
Tighten it too.
Tighten it up. Knowing that you're going to get Tate Ratledge back soon, it's knowing it's at the end of the season, tighten it down.
Did you notice how tight the rotations were defensively this week? No Daniel Harris. They played 2 corners all night. Defensive line-wise, no JJA, no Ja Jarrett.
Well, JJA was hurt.
Okay, you're right. No, I don't believe Xavier McLeod played in that football game.
Did not see him.
They slimmed the rotations, as they should. I think they should do that offensive line-wise as well. You're right. All right, nostalgic tape.
Let's do it.
Y'all got a tough one for me? All right, we got some doubt right now in the tape.
I don't think this is necessarily that tough.
All right. Oh, I love this. I don't know what Buddy's got going on, but I love that right there. That's some good shit right there.
Damn.
Who are they playing out here? Oh, my God. They say, hey, catch a power clean ball right quick. Ask the ankles, my G. Who we got playing right here? Oh, that's Holyfield, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Holyfield. The 13 gave it away. The Woodward Academy gave it away.
Mm-hmm. Sneaky fast in this.
In high school tape?
This clip.
Yeah.
Also
looks like he put on about 30 pounds.
Yeah, I was going to say, he wasn't really a bruiser in
high school?
Or he wasn't really a speedster in college. He was more of the bruiser back. And here, he's just pulling away from folks. There's one play where you'll see he's got, the safety has a great.
What a cut. Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Shifty.
Oh, dude, I would have been all over this. All right, the long speed's questionable right there.
No, you'll see one.
All right. That jump cut at the start of that play was nuts.
Mm-hmm. Right here, you'll see
right
it
there. Sheet. Woo. 63 didn't have a chance. Who are they playing? Westminster? This is when Woodward was in all private school regions. They were in boo-boo schedules. Nowadays, they play big dogs. Nah, I probably would have been a little hesitant with the top end speed. The knee drive's not there, Curb.
No, the knee drive's not there. There's one that makes me really believe. Let me show you.
Question it.
I think this.
That's Pope, isn't it, or Denmark? Dude. Timmy and Tyler getting dubbed up for 260 yards in the first half.
Watch this. It's like 2 plays from now.
It's coming up. Oh!
Phil.
Ow!
Phil.
Ow!
Yeah,
would you rather get ran over or put on the turf on a juke move like this?
I've been put on the turf, so I'd rather get ran over.
Really?
Yeah.
Where's this clip I'm waiting on?
It's next play, I'm pretty sure. If it's not next play.
Okay, there's some burst there. Was he how highly ranked was he?
He was pretty highly ranked from what I remember.
Yeah, he was. I'll look it up right now.
He's still trying. This is Whitewater High School. He's still trying to play. I see him working out on social media all the time.
Good, man. Here we go.
That's pulling off. Yeah, no, that's pulling off right there. That's the fastest he looked on this tape.
Mm-hmm.
He was.
There's one more where there's
Got a
another.
dead body. Somebody pulled a hamstring. I think the kicker pulled a hamstring right here.
He was
Watch. Go ahead. What?
He was a 4-star, 163rd player in the nation, the 6th best running back.
Kicker gets shot right there.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. That's McIntosh. I mean, they're playing. Or no, that's Buford, actually. I'm an idiot. So that's a big football game.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why Georgia recruited him.
No doubt. I mean, by the way, it was a great college running back.
Yeah.
He had a 1,000-yard season. Didn't he?
I mean, you got to tandem him with Swift. That's about as perfect as it gets from styles of running.
That was the last tandem backs to go over a grand, wasn't it?
Yeah, they both did.
No, Harry and Swift did it in 2019.
Okay. Man, good tape right there. Really, really good tape. Good show.
Good show.
Another good show.
Appreciate you guys for being here. We do have film study coming tomorrow as well. We're going to break down that Alabama-Tennessee football game. I don't know how we're going to do that. Should we just do second half?
Sure.
I don't know how we're going to do that. We're going to
That'd probably be better.
Yeah. No, the first half was dog doo-doo from both.